You ready this time? Good evening, ladies and gents, and welcome back to this week's GKP Thursday Night Live. Good evening, Matt. How are you doing, mate? You had a good week?
Yep. Had a real good week. Doing a bit of that and a bit of this.
Busy. Been busy today, mate. Been getting everything ready for the new shipment, which is coming in tomorrow evening or afternoon. So it's been a lot of preparation and sorting out, cleaning out, freshening up vats and getting them all ready, and filter systems and getting them all ready to go to get new stock coming in, which has been, it's been busy. Today's absolutely flown. This week's gone fast, to be fair. It's absolutely flown.
Which ones you got coming in tomorrow, guys?
We've got some Casse coming in. We've got some Shinoda. We've got some other bits and bats. I'm not 100% sure, mate. We've got them all labelled up on little pieces of cardboard, so we know that they all definitely go in the right place. It's too many names for me to remember, mate. That's one thing I want to get my head around a little bit more and actually get to know them all and memorize them all. Obviously, though, we have this evening, we also got the koi appreciation to be looking at, which is on the Asagi and all types of Asagi. That hopefully, I'm hoping that I've sent in some snow. Some snow white Asagis and some normal Asagis and maybe some Ginrin Asagis and maybe some pearl Ginrin if there is such a things out there that somebody may have or own. There's quite a few being sent in. I've picked two little ones myself. Well, me and Kev picked one and did a little video of it, but I picked one as well myself. Well, it kind of picked itself, to be completely fair. I went around doing a little bit of a video, and I thought lunchtime I'll just throw them in a little bit of food, and I put my hand in when I threw the food in, and several fish swam onto my hand, and I thought, oh, a little Asagi there too. So I wiggled it out of and managed to be able to get a nice little snapshot picture of it for the thumbnail to go with the this week's, which is, I shall show you, which is for this week's koi appreciation. So we have the first, hang about, wrong screen, and nearly shared us again then, Matt. So there we've got the first little one there, which is a little Asagi that I picked out just for the little thumbnail, which I'm going to try to see if I can do each one and see if I can get an example of them all in little tosai for every video, for every type of fish that's picked for each week as we go by. So there's a lovely little Asagi. Hopefully that will grace somebody's pond in the very near future. Available if anybody's interested. Not much chance of me finding it though, because it was in there with about another 200. Suppose I could from the photo, but yeah, not going to be the easiest to do. But yeah, there's quite a few being sent in and a couple of topics to talk about, and a couple of topics I would like to talk about as well. So yeah, one which I've brought up before. Oh, and that little small Asagi that was on the palm of my hand is from Otsuka. So that's a nice little fish, nice little example. One of the topics that I wanted to talk about, and it was something I asked in the past many moons ago, and that was koi's teeth. How old a koi? Let's see if, we'll ask Rick when he gets on and the guys as well, but how old do you reckon koi are, Matt, before they shed the first teeth?
Immediately in the first year.
Yeah, I was pretty surprised. I didn't think that perhaps maybe a fish that young would shed them, but
but you imagine it, like when you say, God, look at that woman, she's got massive teeth. It'll be exactly the same, but in reverse. The teeth have got to grow. They're not teeth, but they've got to grow with the body. So is there like, I don't know what the word is, like sharks where they're just ever revolving almost?
Yeah, they just keep they
growing back.
New ones push up and replace them, don't they? There's several rows of them apparently. Several rows of teeth at the back of the throat, isn't there? And they use that for grinding. But do you know what else they use them for?
No.
Oh, there you go. See, this is apparently. I'm not saying so, but a bit of research says so. Apparently, they also use them for communicating with other koi. So that's what it said. Make like a grating noise and have you ever walked past a koi pond with some fish in it and thought, what was that creaking noise?
No, normally I walk by and they go, "Oi, where's the food?"
Well, I was wondering if that's what it might have been, because when sometimes when they're up at surface and they're ready for something to eat, the odd time every now and again you hear like a noise, and I thought, what the hell was that? And I was wondering if that's what might be what it is. But apparently, and I'm not saying it is, but apparently Google says that he uses them for a form of communication.
I reckon all the comments would be going on YouTube at the moment would be, that sounded like a bloody frog.
Well, it kind of, that's what I was looking for over a week when I went into Polytunnel and I heard a creaking noise. I thought, what the chuffing hell's that? There's a frog in here. But I went round everywhere and I couldn't find one anywhere. So I just assumed it. One of them, sometimes like when they come to walk top of surface and they're mouthing at it and they make like that funny noise. You never heard it? Like no. They've sucked air in or blown air out and it's made a funny weird noise. Well, I've noticed it once or twice now. And I'm hearing things while I'm walking through. But yeah, apparently they're supposed to use them for communications as well.
Wow.
I'm not saying they do, but that's what Google says. So Dave Thompson says hi all, and we've just had Matt Child come in and said all good, and good evening, Gaz, Matt, and everyone. We've got Tina Williams also said good evening, Gaz, Matt, and everyone. Mark, good evening all. Hope everyone is well. Mark, hopefully tomorrow evening, my fish from yourself will be making its way back home. We've got to get that last final pond done and finished, and then everything's good to go for the new stock coming in. But that one pond's got to be, the fish in it have got to be, well, brought home. So they're in there. Hopefully, fingers crossed. I don't think they're like dolphins and whales. Well, you can think what you want, mate. I didn't say they were anything like that, but have a Google, see what you think, Brad. See if you can find out. But that's what it says. That's what it says. Apparently they use them as a form of communications as well, to communicate with other koi.
Whoever has come up with that, where did you hear it?
I nearly spat my coffee. I have no idea. It didn't say who wrote it, but that's what it says. Apparently they are supposed to do that with them too, but they do shed them. I'm guessing then, Matt, it's going to be like a 12-monthly thing.
Yeah, if I go into all my drums on the dirty side of the drum where you've got the settlement bit, if I go in there, I'd probably have on a weekly basis probably 20 to 30 teeth in there. There's loads of them in there. Actually, the bottom, if I don't do the drums properly, on the bottom of the collection chamber that's supposed to be there for the gravel, etc., it's got loads of them in there.
Yeah, it does. But when do they get to that? I mean, I've seen ones on Lee Hadfield's in bottom is, and they look like adult molars. Well, they're massive. Yeah. I'm guessing when they get to 60, 70 cm size, they start getting pretty big. But I didn't realize these ones that I found today were tiny. I mean, perhaps maybe a little bit bigger than a grain of sand, but some of them were a little bigger. But the vast majority, because as I was cleaning out the vat, you get down to the last bits, and I'd go in and just wanted to make sure that everything were out and it was spotless and clean. And I was just peeling out the last bit out the bottom of the vat, and I thought, my God, look at all them. There's tons of them. There's tons and tons of little teeth at the bottom. So I picked them all up and took a little snapshot and turned them into a 3D picture just so I could show them. But they were all from little toe size, like this sort of size. They were all small stuff that came in. So I know that the actual koi themselves were young fish. So it was a case of, yeah, that was the answer to my question. Because I asked once before, but I don't know whether I asked somewhere or whether I'd asked online on here. But yeah, good stuff. Worked.
Years I thought about turning them into earrings. Can you imagine the ladies going out and get to them? Oh, I like your earrings. What are they? Koi teeth.
Koi teeth. Like little trophies. I know it was a case of when you look at them, you know, like when you look at underside of our tooth, you can see like there's a hollow to them, can't you? Where it's been attached to the gum line, so to speak.
It's
when I turned all these ones over, they all look like they were hollowed out the same in the same manner. So pretty cool. Oh, there we go. If anybody else has any questions or anything, or any topics they would like to have a natter and to have a chat about or discuss within the audience, just stick them out in capital letters or put in the word question in capital letters. Makes it stand out a little bit. And then fingers crossed, we should be able to answer. But Colin stuck one in there. Good evening, Koi people. I used a product called Koi Ozone Gel on some sores this week on a kahaku. And wow, one treatment and it's 90% better. Anyone else use this stuff? No, I've never heard of it either. That sounds interesting.
You can have a quick nut.
Cheers, Dave. We got quite. I know there are a few people. There are a few people that's posted the videos, but have posted them on the normal rather than with the others. But don't worry about it. I'm not. But as long as they're on there, it's easier for me to get and bring up than having to drag them off or pull them out or use an email. But those that want to send them through in an email, it's perfectly fine as well. I just set up a new email address as well. So for anybody that might be interested or wants to send any fish through in the future, I can't remember the name of my email address now, so I'm gonna have to look. I'm gonna have to look it up and tell you, so you know that the email address is now being changed on my YouTube channel. It's now Gaz's Koi Pond at ProtonMe, which is PROTON.me. So Gaz's Koi Pond at proton.me. If anybody else wants to send any in for any future events that we have got and we partake in. But no, I've never heard of that stuff, Colin. I haven't heard anything about it. Hopefully it continues to be on a positive.
Yeah, it's all natural as well. Natural vegetable oils that have been infused with ozone gas. The ozone transforms the oils into gel, similar to Vaseline. The consistency and ozone is effectively trapped in the oils. I don't know how that
frozen again. It's all right. We could hear you, but your picture just froze. Took you down and brought it back up again.
I don't know how that actually helps. It doesn't actually say, but it's basically vegetable oils.
Basically, but I wonder if it's just the fact that it creates a seal and stops anything from further to be getting in there. No idea. We'll ask. We will ask Crafty, and I will ask Rick when he comes on as well. And hopefully, fingers crossed, we might be able to get some info on it, mate. But if it's doing a good job and it's worked and the fish is 90% better, that's a positive, isn't it? It's got to be a good thing. Dr. Kempo says, "Hi, Gaz, Matt." The head, I've got loads of koi teeth as well, Gaz. Yeah, I've been quite surprised. What made me notice it more than anything, me and Ryan, not last week, the week before, we put a load of Matsubas in a bowl to do a little bowl up video of them. We're probably putting about 20 odd or 30 odd or so, just so we could get a random selection just to send them some out for a client. And when we put them all in and we'd done the video of it, took all the fish out, sock netted them all up and put them back in, and we looked in the bottom of the bowl and I thought, what's all that? And there was tons and tons of little teeth, at least 20 odd or 30 odd little teeth all at the bottom of the bowl. So the little fish that were, about this size shed some of the teeth while they were in the bowl. And then, well, obviously when I've been doing the preparation and getting everything cleaned down and everything ready for new stock coming in, which is, all part of the preparation beforehand for new stuff coming in, and then getting all the parameters right, the water right and everything, then salting it all up to 0.3 in preparation for the new stock going in. Complete strip out, jet wash out, but right at bottom of tank, and every tank that I've done has been a good 40, 50 or 60 little koi teeth in there. And some of them, if not more, in smaller sizes as well. But yeah.
Gaz, question for you then. So, so you clean out the ponds or the tanks, but what do you do with the filtration?
What we've done with filtering, whoa, oh, excuse me. What I've done is we've completely blasted out emptied out the tanks, stripped it all back, boom, everything. So it's literally fresh as a daisy in there, nice, jet washed out, power washed out completely. Then all that water that's been in there has been pumped out completely, fully, right down to as much as you can possibly get out of there. Bar getting a towel and drying it out, it's completely clean. Then we partially fill it back up and we run some Virkon through the system so that it's only partially filled back up, and that's then drained out and it's refilled back up, and the filter system's kicked off and started again, ready for new stock when they come in.
So you're going through, in effect, the new pond syndrome, or exactly the same as I was back in February.
Well, I'm guessing so, mate. But I mean, the chances or the risk of having not saying the risk, but having anything there and putting something else in, or whether it be parasites or whatever, it's like boom, completely done, all cleaned out, spotless, and then that way, then it's a fresh start, fresh stock. You know that what's coming with whatever it's got, and that way then. But then it's water in, obviously, and then once we've got the water in, up to 0.3 with salt, ready for fish, up to go and away. We've also some fish. Well, there's fish already in there now. There's fish in there ready for trigger fish, older stock that we keep as fish that have been exposed so that they can bring out anything, like sleeping cause disease and anything if they haven't been exposed. So there's 2 or 3 fish in every vat for them all to be as trigger fish for the new stock when they come in. So that's what I've been doing this week. Well, part of this week. Oh, you're frozen. Let's bring you back in again. There you go. Colin says ozone kills bacteria and pathogens once the vegetable oil Vaseline is applied, and it creates a barrier in the ozone that kills any nasties that you can also use it on yourself. Forget other tropical. Use it on yourself, forget other tropical treatments. Topical treatments, sorry. Tropical, sorry, mate. I misread that. And forget other topical treatments. Anyway, I could give you a heads up. It's a game changer. Nice one, Colin. It's got to be, if it's doing the job and it's working, that's brilliant news. I did miss a few other people that's just coming in there. Andy says, good evening, everybody. Eyes down, heads up. Let's see what craziness Rick and Matt come up with tonight. Rocket Boy says, good evening, all. Good evening, Gaz and Matt. Hope you're both well. I hope you are too, mate. What you at now, subscriber-wise? Because I know Tony, Famo Koi, he's hit the 1,000 subscribers, and so has exclusively Koi. If any of you that aren't actually tuned into their channel, or into Rocket Boys, or into anybody else that's on here this evening. In fact, what I will actually give a little bit of a shout out for is Alan's Japanese Garden, who says, good evening all. Get yourself over to his channel. He's just started a new channel. It's literally fresh out of the ground, so to speak, and he has just literally made a start on it. Let's see if we can go to channel. We'll copy that. I'll drop a little link. He's got 31 subscribers. Let's give him a little bit of an encouragement, and hopefully, fingers crossed. There we go. Just dropped in there now. There's Colin's channel. We've given the other guys out a shout out many a time. I just hopefully, fingers crossed. Rocket Boy. Oh, 961. So, there we go. The Rocket Boys channel is at 961. Go to channel. Let's copy it, drop it in. Let's see if we can get him. Let's see if we can get him those 49 subscribers to get him over the mark. And there's Rocket Boys as well. But Alan has got a lovely little garden. It's actually Beautiful. Little Japanese themed garden. It's absolutely stunning. Yeah. There you go, Al. I said I'd subscribe, and I said I'd give you a little bit of a shout out. Hopefully, fingers crossed, mate, you get a few subscribers out of it as well, bud. Umbercoy says, sorry, Rocky Boy, I'm already sub. Me too, mate. I wish you could sub again. It'd be good if you could. But yeah, there's one worth looking into. The Ozone. The Ozone, what was it called again, Colin? What's the proper name? Ozone gel. Ozone gel. And apparently it does a good job and works well. 961 subscribers. Let's give that a quick refresh and see if you've got any more. That's got you up to 961 still. Let's have a quick look for Alan's. That's got you another 3, mate. Hopefully, fingers crossed, you'll get a few more by end of evening. If not, we shall give you another shout out later on. And hopefully, fingers crossed, you'll get a few more and gain a few. It's always nice to see small little channels coming up, because at the end of the day, it means that us guys then can have a little bit of time off and relax a little bit. Good evening, bud. And not a problem, Rocket Boy. Not a problem at all. Right, then, one of the other topics. Oh, God damn it. You know, when you sit driving home in traffic, and I thought, oh, that'd be worth while having a chat about. And now I've forgotten. Bit of a brain fart. Never mind. It'll come back to me. I know the first one was koi teeth. But I was quite surprised by that. The difference Matt has definitely froze, mate. Is sending a signal round back at Moon off of Jupiter and back to his mobile. So it takes some time, and it does seem to froze a little bit. But I will bring these little koi teeth up and share them, and just let you have a look at them, because I thought it was all these fish were from the same size. All same size fish, but yet such a variety of different size teeth. I suppose there could be the possibility that it might be one or two from some slightly bigger fish that may have been in there in times gone by, but I don't really think there will be, because it gets a thorough cleaning out. But yeah.
And they don't look particularly big either.
No, that's what I mean. These ones, they were really difficult to pick up. These odd few bigger ones, I don't know, maybe a couple of million. That's pretty close zoomed in at my hand, to be fair. Quite close.
I'd say the biggest I've had is probably between the 2 fingernails. I bite mine, so it's probably getting a false impression.
So you're talking kind of that size.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're tiny then, because they're like 2 or 3 grains of sand stuck together in size. But still pretty cool.
Nice.
I was blown away first time somebody told me koi teeth. I'm like, don't talk wet. They're not koi's teeth. They're people's teeth. They look like the first ones that I saw that were big ones.
Go on, and the first person on YouTube to post what they're actually called, because I don't think anybody has yet.
Oh yeah, there you go. There's a question for you then.
What's
koi's teeth proper name? Perhaps the smaller ones are more the ones that spoke the most and worn them down. Yeah, apparently they use them if they obviously they use them for eating the koi food, but if there was using them in the sense of the wild natural environment, they'd be for grinding down shelled snails and stuff like that, or whatever you want to class them as.
And they definitely do grind them. I was watching them at the weekend, actually. If you see them come up, their feed, and they're all going like that, feeding all over the place. But then once the food's gone, if you watch them in the water, you see them almost like
you can see them moving them around in the mouth, can't you? You can actually see them doing it, can't you? When they come up, they get 4 or 5 pieces of food, then go right down to the bottom, and then they just sit there, and you can see them like moving the gills in the mouth about, can't you?
I was watching them this afternoon where that's straight after the feed, where one of them was going up to one of the other ones and mouthing and going like that just continuously. And you could see him then spitting out the food, that one going up and grabbing the food and then coming back again.
Yeah. Do you know that's supposed to be also supposed to? Oh, hang about. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Jennifer, well done.
Oh, how the hell do you even pronounce that?
Yeah, Parmanalgol.
What?
I couldn't say it twice.
Go. Let me just shut this. Never heard of that one before, Matt. I think you just made that up.
It's probably one of those things that you don't pronounce the H, you don't pronounce the Y, and you don't pronounce the L.
Thanks, Jennifer. That's a lot easier to say. Pharyngeal. So it's one of those. Why English language is just utter dog shit, man. It's so hard. How anybody ever even learns to do they talk with a mouthful, guys? Pharyngeal. Pharyngeal. There. Is that the Japanese term then, or is that the English term?
That's the English, I think. Yeah, that's got to be. Yeah.
Whatever is a Japanese term for that one, or it'd be even worse then, won't it? Geel. Pharyngeal. Is that right? God knows. Probably just made myself look a dick again as usual, but no new there at all. Where's our I hope your pond has started to warm up with the beautiful weather we've been having. It hasn't. No, and that's one of the other things. My fish are coming home tomorrow evening, but my ponds, we've had temperatures like for example, last Saturday we was at 21.5 degrees outside, and it was lovely and warm, but my pond were at 10.5. And on Sunday morning, it were down at 9.5 when I went out to have a look. But my fish they're cruising around through the day, and then come night time, they're all packed up like buses in a depot, man. Just in a line, right at far opposite end of pond. So yeah, it's not warmed up massively, but I'm saying that. I'm saying it's not warmed up massively. We're looking between 10.5 and 9.5 being the coldest that I've seen it over the last 2 or 3 weeks. So in comparison to being down at 1.5 over the Christmas period, it's a lot warmer than that. So I think they're a little bit more comfortable than what they were, but not comfortable. It's the newer fish that are in there, the latest fish that have been added, they seem to be the ones that are parking up more. The ones that are a bit more seasoned, they seem to be quite active and cruising around a lot more. So yeah, but the new ones are coming. Have you prepared the new ones in the fridge before you take them home? That's what they're going to need, Mark. They're definitely going to need it. But Lee Taylor says there, evening all. Will a strong dose of PP kill flukes or just knock them back? It will kill them, mate. Yes. But, Lee, be careful. If you haven't got or you're not comfortable with and you've not done it before, I'm not saying you haven't, Lee, but there's a lot of people out there that aren't comfortable with it and aren't too comfortable at doing it. But, yes, a strong dose of PP will nail flukes. It actually says it on the packet, but what we do is if I were doing it, I would give him a double dose of PP. I'd do PP 1 dose the day 1, pre-clean all my filter back out and everything, nice, proper good deep clean of the filter. PP, leave it to run its full cycle for 24 hours the following day. I would then give it a quick water change. I just flush out my filter system and top that back up and then hit them again with another dose. But once I've done that, I give them 2 or 3 days off and then I hit them with a dose for flukes to make sure that they are all nailed on. But I only give them 1 dose.
What are you using for fluke treatment?
Well, I use that pink liquid. What's it called? I'm trying to remember the name. It's got the. Is it Quattro, whatever it is that hang about. It's
Cointreau.
It's that liquid one. It's like Vince uses it as well. I can't remember the name of it. Float P. It's a pink liquid in the bottle by Kasuri, made by Kasuri. I think it is Float P, Matt. I think you might.
No, Float P.
Yeah, but I found, and the reason why I use that one is when I've tried anything else. Well, I used other stuff, other brands, and I'm not going to slag them off. But when I did use it, it turned my Float P gas. Yeah, it is Float P. It turned my Yamabuki Ozone into to me, the only time that Yamabuki Ozone fish was happy was when fluke treatment or any form of treatment we're in. The rest of the time, it seemed to be flashing all the time. It was going crazy all the time, doing scrapes. It got flukes again, but it weren't the only fish. But it was the one that seemed to be triggered first and always seemed to be reacting worse to the flukes while it were in there. And then obviously putting the treatments in as per instruction on the box, because that's how I did it. I did it exactly as it said on the box, and didn't clear them up the first time. So I gave them a week respite and then give them another dose again. When I did use it, that's it. Use an alt meter, mate. If you're unsure, bang it in. I know what my fish can take, so I'm cool with it, and I don't leave the pond. I stay there with the fish. But in the past, I've sat there staring at them, watching them, making sure everything were all right. But now I'm comfortable enough just to stay in the garden. Don't leave them. Don't leave them unattended. But I'm comfortable enough now to know that how my fish react with it and how they are with it, and whether, I'm always prepared with neutralizing agent, which is hydrogen peroxide, to whack it in should I need to do. But touch wood, we've been good so far, and it's certainly perked my fish up every time I've ever done it. So, but a lot of people will always turn around and say I'm going to remove you and bring you back in again, Matt. Would be to neutralize your PP and then dose again and then neutralize it. Don't neutralize it, guys, because your PP is still doing its job. And it's been said on here before. It's been said by a crafter, and I've been told on very good authority that it actually does. And I've left it, and I've left it to run its full course. And the first time I did it, I was like, I can't really see much of a difference. My water quality doesn't look better. But this time, beginning of this season, and I did it not last week before, did 2 days treatment, my pond looked like glass. The water clarity was absolutely mint, and I had no brown frothy crappy shit because I'd had a real good filter clean beforehand. There was prior to me doing the PP treatment, I'd already run through what do they call it, cloverleaf, because I got blanket weed. So running that through first the week prior, and then went in to try, because the fish were acting a bit weird. And we all know as fish, and I know there's people that say out there, don't treat blind because it's not a good idea, which I agree isn't. But when you know your fish and you know how they're acting, and you know what difference it makes when they're right and when they're not right, me giving them a bit of a PP treatment and doing the double dose, nail my fish on, bob on. And they've been bright as a button, and they've been absolutely bob on still. Just when the cooler temperatures are coming on an evening and a night, they're packing up a little bit. But we've still got that weird name up. Koi teeth, Rick. We've been talking about koi teeth. But yeah, it does leave, but it's got to be a strong dose. And that's the thing. That's. I mean, it actually says it on the packet that it will kill flukes. But for example, I've done it in the past when Rick's advised me, both with a salt dose and a PP dose, to eradicate flukes on one problematic fish. And it were a case of we give it a treatment, and that fish were happy as Lara. And the 2 days later, when I took it out again, scraped it clean. So it definitely does kill them. I even found the odd dead one on it when I did do a mucus scrape again afterwards. So it definitely does kill them, but I wouldn't say it was the best way, mate. There's other treatments that you could use as well. You know, maybe follow through afterwards with a fluke treatment afterwards as well.
Belt and braces.
Yeah, that's, and for me, I last year, not was it last year? Don't think it was last year. Maybe last year or the year before. I can't remember. But I struggled big time with flukes, and I were putting. It weren't last year. It was the year before, and I was treating again and again. And I tried 5 different products. Cost me a fortune, and never did nothing. Didn't get rid of them at all. I had a word with, this was prior obviously to Japan and everything else. I had a word with Ryan, and I spoke with Ryan about it, and he said, do this, this led this amount, that in, and bang. From that point in, done, straight, nailed them. Absolutely cock on. And then he said, right, next day, do this dose. So boom, did it again. I was crapping myself. I won't lie. I was nervous about doing it. But I sat there for 16 hours straight outside at pond. Well, not literally sat outside it, but I stayed with the fish for 16 hours straight, right till it turned dark. And the fish after that, 2 days break, left them be, and then in with some fluke pea and give them 1 dose of fluke pea, and that were it. I've added new fish since last year and reintroduced. You know, it happens, doesn't it? I reintroduced it, but I was expecting it. It's one of them things. You can't always, even the best of places, they can scrape and test, and we can miss them, or you could miss them, or wherever can miss them. And it only takes that 1 or 2, and then next thing you know, you've temperatures are right, they breed, and you've got a little outbreak again. But I was expecting it. I introduced new fish, knowing full well that I suspected I might have already had flukes in there again, but there were minor irritable issues to the fish. So I thought, right, I'll leave it be. When I put the new stock in, then I'll treat them again. Belt and braces, done the same thing, and boom. I started this season off with exactly the same method, and we're looking good. I've no flashing, no flicking. Fish look good. Fish look healthy. The only thing I'd say this year is I've come through with a little bit of cart pox. Other than that, a couple of fish that I've got cart pox that I didn't have. I'm hoping once the temperatures start to rise back up again, they should disperse and clean up nicely again.
Was that August for you, isn't it?
Yeah, about then, yeah. So it should be gone for about 3 weeks, and then we're kicking into winter, and they'll all be coming back again. I had a
100%.
I had a sick nerve of a weekend last weekend, and I don't mean this in a bad way. It was a weekend where I really realised just how much my dad's been struggling, and I'm not me. It will be a little bit with this, but it's not. You know, it's hard to see your parents when you look at your mum and your dad. They always look like your mum and your dad. You know what I mean? It don't matter how old you are to whatever age you are now. You don't notice that point from where you've changed and you've gone through in life to you looking older. Every day you get up, you look in the mirror, you think, yeah, looking good. Now you go, don't you? We all do, but you don't realize the difference from being, you know, a little kid looking in a mirror to you now being a full-grown adult looking at in a mirror. But this weekend really brought it home for me when the bank holiday weekend. I went. My dad gave me a bell and said, "I've got something in me. I'm just having a look at these filters. I'm just doing a quick clean now, and I've got pond completely empty because he's lost all his fish in his main back garden pond. Everything's down." And when I said, "Can you come round and come and have a look?" When I got round, then I thought, Jesus Christ, this is bad. And the amount of detritus that were inside his filter between the media and everything, it was rank. Now, he got cotton wool fungus in his pond on 1 or 2 fish, but his temperature was like 4.5 degrees. So there's no treatment that you can do. There's no you can really do to to sort it. So you've got no choice but to think, right, we can't put it in because it's not doing that. We tried it, but it didn't do it. It didn't work. Wait for temperatures to come back up. We get above 10 degrees. Hopefully we can put it back in. As soon as it got back up through 10 degrees, everything's already dead. So you're like, what the hell? There's no we can do. Everything's already gone. So deep clean out is cut back loads of plant vegetation to make it a little bit more manageable for himself now, because obviously he's getting on. I'm not saying he's getting old, but he's getting on, and he's getting to a point where things need to be easier. So he's like with a nose pipe and he's trying to rinse these sponges off, and I'm thinking, Jesus Christ, Dad, how long you had them sponges, mate? They're like, well, some of those fish in there were like 20 odd years old. And I said, Dad, there's not left of them sponges. They're so loaded with shit that it just don't matter what you do. Let's go down to B&Q. Let's go buy you don't have to be an expensive one. Let's go buy you something to make it easier for you. You've got a nose pipe connection. Let's go get you a little jet wash. So we go down, we pick up a jet wash. That in itself was a 2.5-hour expedition with my mum and my dad trying to get to B&Q. Then we're going from B&Q to home base, from home base to somewhere else, from somewhere else to home. And I'm thinking, God, this is turning into an absolute nightmare. But when we get back there and I think, right, let's get it all plugged in. Oh my God, look how much crap's coming out of them. Yeah, right. But we've been and bought new sponges too. So we got all new stuff. Yeah, B&Q on a bank holiday, mate. Fuck my life. That's all I can say. So we get it all done. We get everything all jet washed out. We take out all the media. We've got it all off. We jet wash all that off and give it a fresh start. I bang a batch of PP through both into the pond, nothing in. Let's run it all through. Let's nail everything. Oh, UV bulb's not working. Right, let's put a new UV bulb in. So we put a new UV. That didn't work. Let's have a look at UV, where it connected. One of the little prongs had snapped off on the actual UV, and it was still inside it. My dad hadn't noticed when we pulled it out. So we got to take all that apart to get this tiny little piece of bulb out, so that had snapped off inside it, so that we could get the new bulb in to get it to work. We finally get it up and running, get it all done and sorted. Just let that stuff run its cycle, Dad. Just let it go through. Go back 54 hours later, everything's hunky-dory. Pond looks nice and clean. Water's crystal clear. Ready for some new fish. I've got to make a net. I need to get some Slater's lap so that I can make a net. I don't want heron coming back. So that's what started the problem off, a heron nailing one of his fish. So we set to, and he's going to order some timber so that he can make himself a net. So the fish are still in my pond waiting to go around. I get the Sunday, and then on the Monday, what time are you coming round, mate? What do you mean? What time are we coming round? Well, I thought we were going to do front garden pond and do filtering that one. And they even said they were going round. But so we go around, we take all that one apart, we do all the same thing all over again, literally rinse and repeat. And now he's got it so that he can get out there. He can get his little jet wash. He can just blast them on top of the lawn. He can rinse them all off and he can put them all in and he can do it. And it's easy manageable. But before for him, with what we were doing and how we were doing it, it was just hard work. So my weekend, and then we're rocking on Monday morning, we're straight into cleaning 43 filters. I think, fucking hell. I've been doing filters all weekend and we're straight in on it. But yeah. It's hard, man. It's hard to because I sent him a message saying, "How are they looking now?" Oh well, this was between the front garden, the back garden pond being done, and me saying, "Right, how's front garden pond looking?" Well, water looks a bit brown, but you said it had brown up. No, Dad, that's the back garden pond. I don't know in front garden pond why is front garden pond brown. Well, I don't know. When I go around and have a look, it's just filthy. That's why it's brown. The water's tinged, you know. So we got it all done and sorted. Now it's crystal clear. Pond looks nice and clean. Fish all look nice and healthy in there. There's no issues, no problem. We've just got to get him his fish from mine to his, and then some new stock from my work for his pond, and he's back off to a nice, easier, manageable fish that are all going to be, his biggest is going to be about 35 cm, whereas some of his others were pushing, 40, 50 cm, and unfortunately he's lost them. But one of them things. It means he can enjoy him growing on a little bit now, and he's got less to do. The system's easier. You can clean it easier. But man, it's hard work when you watch. Do you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying, don't you? When you watch your family, I'm not saying age. That's probably the best way to say it. And realizing that things that my dad would have, yeah, this is how we're going to do it. That would have been him, and now it's me doing it, and my dad's going, "Oh right, really? Oh, that's so much better. That's way so much easier." Whereas before it'd been me, my dad telling me that kind of stuff, and I'd have been thinking, "Oh wow, that's brilliant. That's the right idea." How things change, but yeah,
It's natural, mate.
How's your week been then, mate? I believe you've been rather busy.
You've been mating.
He has. You've been.
It's me.
I believe that you've had one that was an unexpected one, which was, let me see if I can get this right, a Ginrin Matsukawabake that went into spawning on her own without in a non-prepped pond like you were getting it ready for. But fortunately, you had a male Kumonru in there with it. So now you're open to, well, I guess you'll probably from that you'll get Matsukawabake, Kumonru, and Aragoki scaled Kumonru.
Yeah, we've done them before. It's just it wasn't scheduled. So yeah, before Black Zeus was a thing, we did Ginrin Kumonru. Yeah, 7-8 years ago.
Are you hoping to get some of those big, like the ones that Ryan brought over from Japan? I don't know if you ever saw any of them, but there was real big armored scale, a bit of Ginrin to them, but Aragoki, but with the black and white Kumonru type pattern to it.
Yeah. So that's
they look mint.
We've done them. So yeah, we'll probably get 40-50% will be Wagoi, and then the rest would be Kumonru, and then a percentage will be Ginrin on both sides or whatever. So
sweet. That's going to be a
nice that wasn't planned. Wasn't on the agenda, was it? But
you
I think Matt's fault. To be fair, Matt walked into the breeding tunnel and went, "So why don't all this lot ever spawn?" And I went, "Well, there's nothing in here. There's no reason they'll spawn in here. It's we have to get them out early sometimes, but it's fine." And literally 2 hours later, went in, and they were spawning. It's like
what temperatures have you got to in your tunnels then? Water-wise?
It was probably 18.
23, 24.
No, not in that one. Probably 18, 19. But
wow.
I'd put all the fish we'd just spawned, all the kahakus, I put into that pond as their new home. So there was males going in there and female, whatever. So there was enough hormones to obviously trigger. Weirdly, there was 7 other females in there that had done nothing. Just that one fish.
Let me think. Kikikuru. I think that's all right. I think that's what it is. Man, that thing's last year she got quite plump, but goddamn, mate, she's massive. She's really it almost looks like she's gonna pop. She's definitely egged up. She's certainly not going to be spawning in my pond at 10-odd degrees, but I'd be very surprised if that doesn't spawn this year in pond. Because she's double what she was last year. She got plump last year, but this year she's definitely holding eggs, 100%.
Yeah, I don't. It's just one of those things. You normally get away with it, but obviously Matt going, "Why don't they spawn it?" And me going, "Well, because they don't." There's obviously enough to go. Yeah, luckily it was just that
I'm hoping it does. To be fair, I hope she does spawn. I'd like to see. Well, if it does spawn, I'm going to bang some spawning brushes in there, and when they're done, because there's. Well, we're just going to say there's nothing in there. There's something to go in there. These are going to be going in there. Hopefully, this is going to work. Don't know if you can. Oh, you crap head.
He's done a Matt. We're going to call that a Matt from now on. Disconnection from the.
I was just disconnecting my camera and I like a spaz. There we go. Hopefully, the Tamasabid are going in there. And that's the remaining tabasaba that I have now got left. Is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 tabasabas in there, and those are the ones that I'm growing on. Can you see that one? Growing them on, but they're on full 6mm pellets now, and they're eating Sakayakare, and they're also getting colour. Which
is that the stuff you keep nicking from Ryan's in your pocket?
No, I'm not.
No, every day.
Not. Don't be saying stuff like that. You'll be getting me in shit. No, it's what I've got. It's what I've got mixed up, but it's a mixture of a bit of the colour. Because being in tank, I'd noticed the colours seem to be getting a bit washed out and looking a bit shit, to be fair. So I thought 2 of them had gone completely white, and now I've added a little bit of colour. A bit of colour's coming back through in the pectorals and the tail and in the dorsal. So I'm hoping that some bit more colour might come back. If not, they just look pretty cool as they are. So there will be maybe 2 of them that's in there, my 2 favourite ones, going in the big pond. My idea is to then give my dad a few, and there might be a few up for grabs if anybody's interested.
Tamasaba arts.
It's easy to do it, Gaz. Give away freebies.
Yes. It's really easy to do, but probably not so easy to get them to people. I'd have to bag them up, box them up, and take them to take them there, because it'd be getting there's one in there that's got a spaz fin. To be fair, it has got a spaz pectoral fin.
You're still in a big fat deformed dog.
Well, it's not a fault. It's not a birth fault or anything like that. Because of the rocks that I got.
Oh, you sound like J-Lo.
It got stuck. It got stuck in between one of the gaps in the rocks, and I thought, I can't get this damn thing out. So how am I going to get it out? So I had to take the lid off, take the tank out, and by the time it damaged and broke its pectoral fin right on the lead ray. And since then, now that one kind of just sticks to its body a little bit, so it looks a little special. But that one can go in mini pond.
On split fins, how long does it take for a split fin pectoral to come back together?
Well, I can tell you in a freezing cold pond up north.
Not
that. Well, I had a chag that's actually a question that's on. We've got that on Facebook to have a look at and what you can actually do with it. My chag last back end of last year, I netted it up. When I netted it up, I caught the lead ray of the pectoral, and it split back about 2 centimeters. And I thought, shit, I've just ruined my fish. And I was right pissed off with myself. So rather than doing any more with it, I thought, sod it, and I just let it go and let it go back into pond. I didn't even want to do a scrape on it after I'd realised I'd knackered it. I was so pissed off at myself. 2 weeks later, mate, right as rain. And that was at the back end of the year.
So, Rick, can you remember when we've just gone through all of my Tosai that we brought back, the hand-selected ones? Remember the Tanchogoski that had a split pectoral?
Yeah.
It's not anymore.
When they're at the right temperature, it's pretty quick. If they're not split too far.
It swam by when I was feeding them today, and I looked and I was like, you haven't got a split pec. So I caught her or him, put him into the bowl, and yeah, it's totally healed right up. But that was Saturday to now. So 4 or 5 days.
Is that heated?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
you remember the lemon arawaki that I was growing on in my tank? I did the same thing, mate. I took that fish out because I was going to think, right, it's big enough now, I'm going to put it in pond. I netted it and split its pec. I thought, you bastard. So I put it back in tank. 3 days, mate, and it were healed. Completely healed. But it was only, it weren't a big split. It was only,
Yeah, this was a big one. It was a big one, wasn't it, mate?
It was quite a big one. Yeah, I think this environment, when they split them, age of the fish, temperature. So obviously, if it's not right down to the base and the fish, it's fresh, it knits back together. If it's back together, it goes back together really quick. But yeah, when they're split too far and they start doing the old separate,
separating themselves.
And and the longer that's left, then within a matter of days, that tissue that was together starts sort of scarring over and it gets harder and harder. So yeah.
Well, we'll share this because Simon Smith's actually shared this on the Facebook group, and he's put in here. If I don't know if I can make that bigger. I can. Yes. Now that has got a split lead ray there, and it also looks like it split its lead ray on its left-hand side of its pec at some time as well. And it's put in there. I've noticed this coil has a split pec fin. What's the best thing I can do? Not sure, but could have been done in the net, which is one of the most common ways of doing it, mate. Especially that on the anal fin and all. That's a bastard for catching in your net too.
But don't those lead rays look longer?
Shorter.
No,
well, that lead ray should continue all the way around to about here, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
So that looks like that one snapped, torn and snapped it clean off. And this one looks like that one snapped in the past before as well and torn again from the same point.
Yeah, it's difficult to know when it was done or whatever, but the lead rays look short. So they might have, it might have been damaged previous, it's healed and then susceptible to more damage or whatever. But weirdly, you sometimes see split rays when they've got like problem with flukes and stuff in the pond, and it's like random. Why have they got the fins look quite raggedy and split? And it's like doesn't really. But it's just something you sometimes see. But yeah, that does look like damage, previous damage, and then potentially new damage.
There is something you can do with them, isn't there? I mean, I've tried it and I've done it on one once, and it was successful. But I don't know if it were a fluke. And I super glued a friend of mine's one that had torn. It was only a young tosi, and it had torn the lead ray. We took it out, sedated the fish, and I placed its peck across my finger, and I put obviously the peck and the lead ray close to it, side by side each other, and I ran a line of super glue and super glued the pectoral back together. And it was enough for the super glue to stay on for about 4 or 5 days, and then that came off. But when it came off, the damage had knitted together halfway up. And then the remainder over a couple of weeks healed naturally on its own, just being left. It was enough to give it enough time to make a bit of a difference. But I also know that Marcus from Kaizuko Koi has he's done one that's had a torn pectoral and lead ray, and he sedated the fish and gently scraped back both sides of the peck and the lead ray, and then put a couple little stitches in to hold it into place. I think he put 2 or 3 in to stitch it up and knit it through and leave it for about a fortnight and then remove the stitches. And that held and that worked. Now, I'm not saying that everybody's capable of doing that, but if you're comfortable with doing it, it's something that could work, because I've heard of other people doing it in past. And if you research it, that's what it says to do, put a little stitching them and stitch them back together. On Lee Hadfield's video from April last year, there's a video from Taniguchi on stitching them together. There you go, Rob. Thank you. Appreciate that, mate. But yeah, that's what I've seen that guy do. I've done personally, and I know that Marcus has done it on one of his fish in the past, and he said it worked a treat. Within a week or two, it was right. But that could always be a problem with it being short lead ray, because it's always going to have that protruding.
Yeah, with some fish, it's just some fish are more susceptible, aren't they? Asagi's a bit of a nightmare anyway, in the bowl, in the net, jumping and thrashing. But yeah, I think gluing's the easiest way with little fish. Stitching's probably more something for bigger fish. But
yeah, I think the ones that Marcus were doing were bigger fish, and the one that I were doing was literally a little torsile like that. The only downside to it is you've got to dry the pectoral off and make sure it's really dry, because if you touch super glue onto water, it instantly cures it. The other side is when you get it, you're going to get a bit of it on your finger, and you've got to be quick enough to get it off your finger before it's, or otherwise you end up with a fish's pectoral stuck to your finger, which is never a good idea.
Gentleman just sent me this. Anybody heard of it? This is Marco. Too scared to come on and ask himself, so he sent it to me.
Okay. No, what's the active ingredient? Make it bigger.
It's effective from temperatures from 3 degrees C as well, apparently.
Yeah.
It can also be used on a range of species, including goldfish. It doesn't say.
Any treatment should say every
it.
treatment should say what's in it.
It treats skin and gill flukes, including resistant strains of flukes, where other treatments have failed, but it can also be used to treat trichodina, costia, tapeworm, roundworm, and whatever the hell that says. Fish lice. And it can be used in the presence of salt, but it doesn't say. It uses the same proprietary technology as fluke solve range, so the method of administration is the same, simply rip, tip, and stir. However, in the cases of gill flukes, which lay eggs, the previous product, a secondary treatment is recommended after 3 weeks to break the fluke life cycle. It can also be used on a range of fish species, including goldfish. It's effective from temperatures of 3 degrees C, simple to use, safe and effective. Buy direct at www.fishtreatment.co.uk. Trade inquiries welcome, but no active ingredients, and doesn't say what it contains.
If it kills Argillus, it's supposed to kill Argillus, and so basically you're treating a crustacean, a worm, a protozoan parasite. At the end of the day, it will be probably flibenzidole.
Yeah,
but
dynamite.
It won't. Well, to be fair, flibenzidole is not great. It's one of those, isn't it? It's quite safe for fish, but it's not that great at treating what it is. But we need to see what the active ingredients. But in my mind, if something's treating a protozoan parasite, a worm, and a crustacean, it's 3 very different.
Wonder juice.
It's like going into a garden centre and getting a parasite treatment that does everything.
Let me ask you a question then when it comes to that type of product, i.e. a powder formed. I was told something by a lovely gentleman over at .coi, and it made a hell of a lot of sense. Every time he says mix into some pond water and stir vigorously until all the products dissolve, blah, 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 blah. And I said to him, yeah, I've tried that, man. It just floats like well on top of water. It's almost, yeah, you get a whisk, you stick in a drill and you spin it for a fucking hour and a week. And you think, well, it's still there. It's still floating. You throw it on top of your pond and you can see it floating on surface. And you think, well, how's that going to do out? And he turned around and he said to me, next time you do it, if it's a powdered form, boil some boiling water, stick it in a bucket, and then add the powder to boiling water. And you will find that it dissolves almost instantaneously. Allow it to cool down and give it a good mix as it's cooling down, and then add it to your pond. Just make sure you don't add it. Even if you want to put it in a hot, don't add it anywhere near where your fish are, so you're not exposing them. Just go to the opposite end of your pond and add it in, and the circulation as it'll move around will disperse it through your water. And I thought, well, that sounds like a bloody good idea, that, to be fair. But I've never had, since then I bought myself a liquid version, and I always mix that with warm water from the tap. And that stuff, literally, warm or cold water, it mixes up instant. And there's no arsing about with it at all. But powder form, what do you think of that, of a good idea or bad idea to do it with warm water to dissolve it more easily?
Yeah, we use warm water for some treatments, but you got to be very careful. Boiling water will destroy some treatments.
I was going to say, I can remember on some of the ingredients, instructions, it says use warm water, but not boiling water.
So it's
that's the main reasons why I don't like that. What's it called in the tall green box? The tall shit, I forgot the name of it.
What's this powder?
Yeah, it's a powder form that you get. But it's
Learnex Pro is one of the
Learnex Pro. That's why I don't like that crap, because it just impossible.
That doesn't dissolve any better in warm water or cold water. That just refuses to dissolve.
It's horrible, isn't it?
You put it in, and then the next day
change your fish into crackheads too.
Gone.
They get addicted to it.
But it's one of any treatment you've got to work out if it works for you in your pond environment, and there's no point. And you can discuss it all you like, but at the end of the day, if you put a treatment in and you re-scrape your fish a few days later and the flukes are gone, it's worked for you. I can't sit here and say flubendazole is not going to work for everyone. For some people, it doesn't work. For other people, it works very well. Praziquantel works for some people. You know, where hands are tied in the old days, you could use organophosphates and stuff that were amazing. You can't use them anymore. You can't go on with them. Well, you can in some places, which is like you get someone that comes on from Japan. Oh, why don't you just use this? Well, because you're allowed to use that. We're not.
And we're not. That's the biggest problem that we've got. Most of them are. Well, I know we touch on this near enough weekly, but at the end of the day, it is true. Most of the products that we've got, EU regulations have made them so that they're safe, but don't really work in the quantities other than in a test lab. Then they do work, but no two ponds are the same. So people have different results and end up adding more to be able to make it do what it should be doing. But
I get it. Some of the troubles you couldn't. Some of the chemicals you used to use, and some of the chemicals we still use, actually, to be fair, they're pretty serious chemicals.
Yes,
the carcinogenic.
Well, I understand it, Rick. I understand why it's got to be governed. It's got to be regulated. It's got to be, because if they just said, wang a bucket load in, and everybody did, and everybody's fish were dead, they're all going to be getting, what the hell's going on? I have thousands of pounds worth of fish. They're all dead at the bottom of my pond because of X, Y, and Z, and you're going to get that. It's your fault job, aren't you? So you can understand them doing it as they do.
Yeah. Well,
I'll just quickly touch on this one, Claude. Some of my tamasaba have black coming through. Is that normal? Depends on bloodline, mate. Depends on the breeding of that particular fish. We've had just some red and white fish come in, and they have developed sumi at a later point. Yeah. So it is normal, Claude. They do develop it. You might get some that have lots of sumi, they lose it, because we've had some that done that too. So yeah, same as koi, mate. They are temperamental.
The worse than koi. At least we know what the koi are bred from. Just seem to be any type of fancy goldfish they like, isn't they?
Yeah, I mean, I don't honestly. When I look at the tamasaba that we've got at work, and I look at the tamasaba in my tank, and none of them tamasaba. Not at all. But to be fair, I quite like them, so I'm not really all that bothered. They're going to still get to grace the pond, and I think they'll compete well for food, because when I wang it in there, I'm putting about 30 or 40 pellets in, and it lasts like 4 seconds and it's gone. Then they're doing that 4 or 5 times
I'm going to say in a few years you'll be cursing. You'll put them in your pond, the little shits will spawn, and you have loads of little brown goldfish in your
everywhere.
pond. You'll never get out again, and you're like, why did I just put those goldfish in my pond?
Yeah, you're probably right. I might just give them all my dad and say, "Yeah, mate, how's them for you?" My dad loves it though. He's got a pot. His front garden pond's just got goldfish in, and every year he allows the little plant. It looks a little bit like baby's tear. Looks a bit very similar sort of little plant to that, and it grows and spreads out, and you can see all fish. They all go into it and they all spawn and they all lay their eggs in there, and then come a couple of weeks later, there's little goldfish swimming around. And my dad thinks it's brilliant, so he'll love it if he gets his hands on some of them and he gets some of those spawning as well. So I mean, I might just give him all job lot, but bar 2 possibly. I might just keep them 2 and put them in pond, see what they do. But yeah, then I'll be cursing it because I've got goldfish spawning in my pond. That's what I had some, what do they call the other ones?
Shabumpkins.
That's the one. Yeah, shabumpkins. I had some shabumpkins in back garden pond. Man, they spawned within 3 times in 1 year. And koi were just smashing hell out of eggs and eating a lot. So nothing survived. But yeah, they went for it, ran the little buggers several times. So yeah, Claude, they can do, mate. And then really you've got a shower stroke Sankey type as opposed to the Kahaku type. So,
You've
bit of
got
an
the
extra
Southampton
bonus.
type.
Yeah.
You've got the other type.
Well,
And you've got the brown
there's so
type.
many different varieties.
Yochuba type.
Yeah. So many different types of
goldfish, mate.
They're basically just goldfish that they haven't actually got a proper bloodline for, and they're just wanging all sorts into them. You can actually get them now with what do they call wens on their heads too, where they've crossed an Arandas into them. So yeah, a lot of messing about with them still. Right,
Going back onto that fluke treatment.
sorry,
It's,
I digressed.
That's
As Vince would say.
it's
Still connected
in the same company to make Fluke Solve Plus, and Fluke Solve Aquarium and Lysol. It's being created. This must be in conjunction with Crafty because it's Dr. Fiona McDonald.
Say that again.
Why's that got to be with Crafty?
Because he's always eating McDonald's.
Is that where he is?
I don't know.
Sat filling his face in McDonald's car park.
Nice one. Good joke, Matt. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, all those products are, just different variations of a kind of theme. But at least someone's trying to do something. Fair play on her.
What about that question there from Tony Nichols? Got a solid orange fish, split its fin last year, so an orange Ozone. Split its fin last year, healed perfect now, but the split is white where it's healed. Will it ever go back orange?
No.
No.
No, it's healed like when you quite often lose a scare one on
a
fish. It's
in a
just,
sense.
yeah, the pigment's not in the scar tissue, so it's going to be a different colour.
So now you need to do the other side to match, Tony.
Put some stripes in it. Yeah, it's one of those. It's quite often regenerated scales will be a different colour to the original fish or whatever, or scar tissue damage. On chags, it's quite often black. On orange and yellow fish, it's quite often white.
Oh, there's one. Up North Koi Pond says, I use Duncan Griffin's 100% Parasite now and use formalin as a carrier to dissolve it in the water. Works great.
Yeah, I mean, Parasite Quantum's are cheap. You can buy quite a cheap chemical, but it doesn't dissolve. So originally, you used to dissolve it in acetone. But yeah, you can. It dissolves in formalin or whatever, but you get it now and it's Fluke P in it. It's Parasite Quantum. It's just already in a whatever that pink smelly liquid is that you pick your ponds. Whatever, it's pretty noticeable.
It does smell, doesn't it? That stuff. It's strong.
Yeah, but that's the problem. The problem with Parasite Quantum is it doesn't dissolve in water, so you have to put it into a carrier solution, which is obviously whatever that pink stinky liquid is. I'm sure originally you used to use acetone. If it dissolves in formalin, even better.
There you go. Nice one, Si. Thank you very much. So then, if we dip back again, sort of like back and back again, what else has been on the own? Because Matt said as soon as you come in, you've been spawning. Have you done the Welsh dragons?
Oh, the Welsh dragons are done. So
I've got lots of catching up to do, mate. I've just had a nice break from everything.
Yeah, no, we put so from Lee Haffer, obviously had the male that we've used for the Welsh
Which
dragon.
was what blue?
Tucano male that he's used. One award at the show is cracking fish from
male. It's beautiful. Yeah, so that's one that he's got from Uncle Tucano.
Yeah, so he delivered that last year, but when he brought it, he had a young Nagami Kahaku, which I had off him as well. So that was female. So
did you take one of the Tosai? One of his drawn Tosai?
Yeah, it was Nisai on it.
Nisai,
It was his last one. He didn't want to sell, so might as well come. So we did a little deal. So that spawned as well. So I've done Nagami cross Dainichi cross Dainichi and Kahakus, Momotaro Gimrin Kahaku cross a little Coda one and Hiroi Deutz one. So the Kahakus are all sort of hopefully done. They're all eyed and be hatching tomorrow.
Sweet.
And then we've done Sakai Fish Farm across Sakai Company, Ginrin Sankeys. The Welsh Dragons are done, so they're eyed as well, which is Dragon Ball cross Lee's Mail. And whilst Lee's Mail was in there, I did 2 Tamora Sankeys with it as well. There's like 8 or 9 spawners done.
So Lee's the proud father of several 100,000 fry.
Well, they're still eggs at the minute,
but they've got eyeballs.
So yeah, they got good eyeballs.
So he's definitely
He's definitely
because that was Lee's biggest. I hope it's fertile. One he was saying.
Yeah, he's fathered. Yeah, we've got 1 duff lot, but that's not obviously the male's fault. That's the female's fault. Happens. If the lot's duff and the male's fertilized other eggs, you can't really blame him, can you?
No.
So they're all hand strips. We did about eight sets. They're all full, and yeah, should be hatching tomorrow and the day after. And obviously we did the Matsukawabaki Komomaru cross as a little side bonus. So they're separate as well.
So does that mean you're maxed out already for your first round?
Pretty much, pretty much. Because I've had to split them. I didn't keep too many eggs. It's too cold, so I haven't kept masses. And there's 12 ponds, maybe, of in hatchery. So, but not. I've had to keep the numbers low because its temperature's not great. Next round we'll do all the Showa, Shiro, Hitsuri, that sort of stuff. So we'll do greater numbers, 3 or 4 weeks. We're playing. There's no, you can't. The trouble with koi is to get them to spawn, getting the eggs good, getting them to hatch, getting the fry to do well. You can't really count until they're.
Yeah, you want to get them to at least 3 or 4 cm, and then you're good to go. Yeah,
but the first 10,000 are sold in 4 weeks. Well, sold, they're ready to go in 4 weeks. So that's kind of part of the event. There's 10,000 going out on that, and then the pressure's off.
It's going to be. Do you reckon it's going to be another one like you're like, God damn it! I've sold 10,000 of those fish, and look how good they are. I should have kept them. like last one.
Yeah, well, yeah, probably looking at the eggs. I'm not going to have as many as I wanted, so there will be. It will be.
Shit.
I'm not going to have masses left, but that's how it is, isn't it?
Are you going to try some more Showa again this year?
Showas, yeah, the next on the list, yeah.
Next on the list. So
yeah, the Shiros, Showas, Hitsuri, all the black base stuff will be next round.
So you're actually looking for some volunteers with a straw and a vacuum cleaner attached to the end of it, because we've established Rocket Boy is not the best at separating out yellow and black.
He's willing.
I'm only messing.
Ezra's one of the best we got, but employing a 10-year-old is a bit harsh, and he's now charging me £7 an hour.
What? Ezra is?
Yeah.
God, we'll get Rocket Boy in. He'll do it for $5.50 and a free fish at the end of it. So busy. What's the next stages then for preparation with the big stuff, like bigger mud ponds? Have you got anything that's going back out there now already? They're already gone out.
Yeah, most of the mud ponds are already stocked. We've got one more to empty because we used it for store and stuff. But yeah, so we should have all 3,000 that are going out on the farm out by mid-May, maybe. So 3,000 Nissan go out on the farm. There's another 3,000 on the other site. That's the plan.
Looking a lot nicer, mate. I don't mean that. That sounded wrong. Sorry. I don't mean it. Not nicer. It's looking tidy and organised.
It's getting there with extra pairs of hands. And
yeah, that's what I mean, mate. It gets to a point where nature takes over a little bit, doesn't it? Because you're busy doing what you're doing, and it's difficult to get.
It's not the extra pair of hands. It's somebody to organise work.
Did everybody see that? He said that, then without even moving his lips.
Yeah. To me, it's one of those, to be fair, when you've got, so quite often we've had a student in for 2 months. We've got Dave and Vince. We've got another guy in on Saturday that wants to help. So obviously when people are coming in, you make sure get jobs done. And some days we'll have 5 of us working. Because for the last few years, we had just 1 or 2 of us. it's one of those. It might not be so much the work they do; it's the work you line up and all get done.
Yeah,
as a team. But yeah, you give Vince a little job, and he's amazing at cracking on. Just
should be on books, mate. You should get him in there. Get him.
He can't. The trouble is, he does a couple of days doing the filming. He's done it. His arthritis that's why he can't work, isn't it? Because he'll work like a Trojan. He'll do 6 hours, and then you got to wheelbarrow him back to the car and leave him for 2 days.
Get him a quad, great. Get him a quad. Get some of those. What is it? One of those power suits that he can put on as like an ectoskeleton, and he can just walk around with them on. Do it.
That's the problem. If he can't work, he can't work, can he? But he's driving.
I think he'd love it though, mate. Wouldn't it? He'd love it if he could. He'd enjoy it.
You see him back at his house, and he tries to do his pond, and he lay 3 blocks, and then his wrist. It's one of those things, isn't it? You just arthritis and whatever. You just can't. Yeah.
Get him a Segway. Now there's an idea. Segway, straight thing. Get him a Segway for whipping around on.
But yeah, so far, I mean, to be fair, the last few weeks I've just been out on a jolly for 5 weeks, and I come back and it's just been banging.
You've had a nice break, mate. Though I dare bet that's deserved. Though it's been a good while. I mean, I know you've had your weekend breaks where you've gone to your couple of bits and bits that you've had off, but you're there a hell of a lot, mate, aren't you? And you work every hour.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, innit? So yeah, I've had 5 weeks of not being there, and the only way you can not be there is by going away.
Yeah,
because if I'm home,
you're in.
Then I'm there. I'll go back there when I do whatever.
It's kind of home from home, I would imagine, mate, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, which is but it's perfect, isn't it? It's got to be, innit? It's not. It's a way of life, and it's not just a job you can check into. Even when I stayed at Matt's the other night, I was looking out the window at 3 a.m, making sure his power was on, because I'm getting paranoid about his fish.
And Matt was that impressed. He paused like this for such a long time.
No, I roll over and look at my phone, and all the power's on. Back to sleep.
I bet you were a master at. If anybody went to a kids' party when Matt went there when he was a kid, they were screwed, weren't they, when it came to sleeping lions, man? Because you are really good at keeping still, mate. I mean, even that deer mounted to the wall behind you has flinched more than what you have in the last half hour.
Mental,
I don't know what it is, because I'm watching it and everything is working, even me.
Even you.
Yeah, like I'm moving when you're telling me I'm frozen and I'm seeing me moving.
Yeah, I just have to keep my eye on him.
It's just a black screen.
Bring you in and back out. It must just signal drop out and then it don't reconnect. Ryan's Koi Pond has asked, hi guys, is split fins signs of flukes and fish not eating properly? No signs of flashing, have scraped a few times. Also, what do people use to scrape in case I'm doing it wrong?
If you can't find flukes on a scrape, then
yeah,
they're probably the easiest, isn't they?
When you scrape for flukes, mate, and you've got flukes, the second you put that slide in and focus it in, they go like that because they're goddamn obvious, and they are out there. You can see them easy enough. Flukes stand out pretty easy if you've got flukes, but I would say, you can, depending on what everybody else thinks, but fish flicking, flashing, you might not notice it, you might not see it unless you spend a lot of time watching. But if you're seeing that your fish is looking a little bit tatty, then maybe that is an indication. It would be something that would make me take a scrape to have a look, because you would think, hang about, that's not normal. There's something just not right. Or perhaps maybe, for example, if you thought, oh, that fish looks a bit pinky or a little bit red, then that would be more of a costier indication. So again, something else to have a look at and do a scrape for, because you don't want to leave it, you don't want to risk it. If in doubt, mate, pull 3 or 4 fish from your pond, and not necessarily the one that's got the split pecs, but others as well. If you can get that one, scrape that one, but do others as well. Make sure you always take 3 or 4 scrapes from your pond, and that way then, because you might, as silly as it sounds, in a pond, you're always going to have that one fish that's more susceptible. That's the right way of saying it. I would have said there's normally in a pond environment.
Normally looks pretty manky. Evening, Crafty. You're right, mate. We're talking
good
about
evening,
manky.
mate. Sorry, bud, that was rude of me to bring you in and not say good evening. But yeah, we would all say for at home in his own ponds, you will have one fish that's more susceptible to parasites than what any of the others would be. So that's one that you want to scrape, obviously. But you don't want to just depend upon that thing and think, oh, well, that one's got 4 or 5 flukes on it. That might always be that fish that has 4 or 5 flukes on it. So it might be better to actually think, you know what, I'll take scrapes from 4 or 5 of the other fish that look good. And if you can, left flank, right flank from gill plate back gently, and then obviously turning the fish over and getting from the underside towards the anal fin as well. Don't go across its private areas because you don't want to be doing that. But if you can, 3 scrapes per fish, but do more than 1 fish. And if
if you do 1 scrape of 1 fish, you find flukes that are any numbers, then
you
don't worry about it.
Just treat it. Yeah.
But if you did 3 scrapes and you found 1 fluke, would you treat?
No.
I know, keep it in my mind that there's an issue that you treat them when they got. So you're saying there the fish aren't eating them. So normally your fish should be behaving normally. If they're behaving normally, then it's good. Don't worry about it, do you? But you know that.
I see loads of people that they've done multiple scrapes, they found a fluke, and then they go and treat for flukes. In my eyes, that's going to cause more issues because potentially you're putting all the fish under stress.
No, I think at the end of the day, if you found a fluke, and why not? At the end of the day, you're just eradicating a problem before it's a problem. But you don't need to panic and get all flippity floppity about it, do you?
Do you not think though that if you went through any pond and you did a scrape on all your fish in the pond, you would find flukes anyway? Because where have they come from?
Generally, no. If the fish are all happy and you haven't got flukes, you shouldn't find any. But if you do find one, it's not the end. It's not a problem, is it?
Yeah, but I've seen people that, and I've got one in Yeovil that's hasn't bought a fish for now probably 7 years. It's all undercover, so nothing can actually get, no bird life or anything can get into that pond. And every year he goes down with flukes, Costia, Trichodina, and Chilinella.
Yeah, that's for the birds that fly over and drop the random snails in that they pick up from local pond and local park. They just drop them in.
So there's something, to be fair, upon that, there's something's not right there. There's no way you should have those issues recurring unless there's a reason for it. Is
it more the fact, Rick, that they're not really being eradicated and they just come back in numbers again, and it takes 12 months or so for it to show signs of being flukes in there again?
No, there's something going on there that's, yeah. If you
so
have that many parasites,
like we had on that little advert, obviously the gill flukes carry a live young, and the others do eggs, don't they? All right, is it that way around?
Other way around, but yeah,
or the other way around. Well, I knew it was. Well, I had to get it right or wrong, didn't I? One way. So you've always got the egg cycle or the young cycle, haven't you? So if you think you've treated and you've got rid of it and everything looks clear, but yet then the next batch of them come around and you haven't treated again a second dose to make sure you're getting rid of that.
It's worse than that because Costia and White Spot are both going to a cyst form where you're indestructible, basically. So there is the potential of having a pond that can go down with Costia 5 years after not having any issues if the environment gets shit enough or whatever. It's one of those. But in reality, if you've got an indoor pond that every year, the same kind of time of year, goes down with multiple problems, I'd suggest that there's something going on.
Well,
filtration or temperature change.
I'm not saying he goes down with all of them, but every time it's one of them.
Has he got a shower or a trickle tower where they could be harbouring them Harbour.
He's
That's right,
got a
isn't it?
big backy shower that's 4 meters long. It's huge.
But obviously, when you treat it, it should be. Obviously, if it's all running, you should be treating it for everything. But yeah, Costier, White Spot are both capable of going to a cyst form where if the fish are dealing with if it's not good for the parasite goes into almost like a kind of hibernation where you can't deal with it anyway. And until the situation gets shit enough, Picadina is something that's a natural detritus eater. It's not really a parasite. So flukes are the one thing that if they kept reappearing, it probably just suggests that they're not being dealt with properly because the treatments aren't actually used at a strong enough dose or they're not good enough to deal with it. And it's just
I've remembered the other topic, the one that I told you two about, one that I asked you and one that we spoke about. And that again was another form of parasite, a type of worm. And I forgot the name of the worm, Matt. Can you remember what it was?
Oh, yeah.
You said nematode. That's
nematode.
Well, yeah, but that's
but there's lots of types. Yeah. And it just looked very similar to one. But again, the nematodes, they're not so much a parasite that live on fish until they get into big numbers and then they can hitch a ride kind of thing and become problematic, can't they?
A lot of them opportunistic. Fungus is opportunistic, isn't it? It's always there and will not affect a healthy fish. But when a fish has got a problem, it will jump on board, won't it? So Picadina is another one that will do the similar thing. We see one at work, Vorticella, I think it's called. You'll never ever see it normally, but on fry, when the pH goes high enough, the water gets to a point, suddenly it can become, it's a naturally occurring protozoan. It's not a parasite, it just lives in the water. But if conditions get to a point, it can become a parasite on the fish. Easy to deal with, but it's our own fault for letting the temperature get too high, the pH getting too high, the algae levels it becomes such a organic soup that you're creating an environment that just triggers something.
Ryan's Koi Ponds asked a question. This may be a silly question. This is not me. In my opinion, this is truly what I believe, right? There ain't no such thing as a silly question. If you're unsure or you don't know, mate, it's always better to ask. That way then you get your answer that you require. And for you, it's the answer that you need. Now, personally, there's a couple of things you can do. Sometimes you can go into like your local koi dealers or whatever, and they'll have a soft type of, I would say like a credit card in a sense, but business card. And sometimes those are actually designed specifically for taking mucus scrapes off your fish. But there is another way you can do it as well. I've got certain types of slides, but don't everybody panic here for a second. You can use the slide that I've got, the type that I've got, which is a plastic one. It's clear, but it doesn't have a sharp, razor sharp edge on it. And that way then you can take a scrape off the fish without doing too much damage. But a soft, flexible card is one of the easier things to do. Once you get your scrape onto your card, you then slide it across it and wipe it onto your the column glass thing, your glass slide, and then put a droplet of water over the top. Bring your mucus into the middle, droplet over the top, and then put your covering slide over the top of it, and then under your microscope to have a look.
We use the actual slides. You angle them, you run them across.
We do.
You run them across, You get the mucus on, cover slip, under the microscope. It takes 5 seconds.
That's what we use at work. We do the same way at work, but some people might be a bit cautious because sometimes on those glass ones, they can be a bit sharp, can't they? But if you're careful, if in doubt...
You angle the slide that way on the fish, go from head to tail, done.
Yeah, it's relatively easy, isn't it? It is when you've done like 40-odd ponds and free fishing 40-odd ponds. Just then it becomes real easy. Apart from the big ones, because them bastards soak you through. I got so wet.
What parasite is that, Gaz, I just sent you?
Oh, sorry. You meaning... You sneak. I like what you did there. Sorry. You're a bastard, you man. Right. First of all,
Oh no! Come on, bring it up. He's proud of it.
I'm going to bring up the first one that you put on.
No, don't worry about that one. Bring out the second one.
Oh, I'm going to put up the second one. Oh, wrong one, wrong way. So, what type of parasite is that? Is he shit, isn't it? Sorry, mate. I thought first he was being serious, and then I realised what he was doing.
That's a killing machine, mate.
Was that you last year, Crafty? You haven't aged
Last year
much, have
before
you?
I ate Big Macs.
You were a good-looking chap, Crafty.
He looks
You didn't
right
have
angry,
much
doesn't
hair
he?
back then, did you either? That was the start of the desert head, wasn't it?
No, mate. Well, how old was I there?
Well, look, it's kind of recession.
24,
No way. Really?
2002, yeah, about 24, I think it was. No, it weren't.
Shit, that.
Yeah, 20, yeah, about 24, 25 I was.
He's like a brooding,
Mean, moody,
handsome
and
chap there.
magnificent.
Thank you, Andrew.
So then, there you go. There's a float, mate. Oh, there's several float. There's a float
Fucking
rave.
over the
In fact,
park.
there's
Live bearers as
two
well,
interlocked to each other there. But goddamn, yeah, that's a typical slide when you've got a bit of an infestation, and that's how easy. The second you put them on, you think crap. But around these areas here is a very good place to be looking for when you're looking for like Costia or Trick. You ain't going to see him in this. It's really hard as shit to see him. But in the areas at the side of the slide where there's no mucus, you will see your Costia and your Trichodina and your Chiladanilla.
And that fish wasn't showing any symptoms or anything. That was just a random fish pulled out the pond.
Yeah, it's one of those Yorkshire fish, that, though, isn't it?
No.
Hard as
I think it
nails.
probably was. If just you didn't see it.
It fucking was, man. That
Hard
is
as nails.
infested, mate.
But
What are you on
to be
about?
fair,
Flukes? Let's have them.
you can
But it
see
really
the
does surprise
bearers.
me.
Can you go back to the start of the video? Who's doing
Yes.
that? Oh, you're not moving it, are you? You can see the live young in that middle one.
Yeah.
You can see the jaws of the baby.
So, Rick, on that, I always say the same, but it always looks like there's like what you just said then, a baby in there. Are they live bearers only to the one or two rather than thousands of
No,
them?
but they're not many. But quite often there'll be a baby inside the baby.
No way.
Oh,
Really?
So inside that middle one, where you can see the bigger fluke,
You
There'd be
can see it
another
on the right one as well.
Yeah.
and what people don't realise is the little wormy, the grippy bits where they hold. It's the other end that eats.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's
just
this.
an
It's,
anchor. Yeah.
yeah. This point here, right
Is
underneath
where-
the play button, that's the
Yeah.
anchoring point.
Yeah, that's where it grabs hold and destroys the tissue, and then the other
And
end.
this
is actually
bit here is the bit where it actually feeds from. So the tip
Yeah,
that
and there is
points
two.
out does this.
There is two flukes holding each other.
Yeah, interlocked onto each other via the clasping device.
If you just go back just a little bit, Gaz, and you're
There's Costia on that as well, man.
Yeah, that's what I was
Yeah.
about to say.
Yeah.
So this is a good example. If you can see your fluke
Here, there,
Just
there,
seen it there,
that
yeah.
size,
there.
you've got Costia.
When you look right, we'll go back and I'll try see if I can pause it exactly when it's visible.
I see it so many times where people
There.
have this top, yeah.
There and there,
Yeah.
look.
Yeah.
Right, so
A
you've
little
got
flash.
the cluster of Costia in there as well. Just there. This is it.
So if you look through your eyepiece and your flukes aren't that size, you've got no chance whatsoever to see Costia.
Yeah, the fluke's like 100 times the size of Costia.
You can just see it move through there then.
But what I think to be honest, what tends to happen is flukes and Costia, you quite often get both, and the flukes eat the Costia because you don't have a lot of Costia when the flukes are there. But you kill the flukes, and 4 days later, there's fucking loads of Costia. It's like they almost compete against each other, and if you take one out, the other goes boom.
Lisa Leach says, "Where did the fluke name come from? Somebody just pulled it out at random, so they called it fluke."
You get flukes in everything, man. Flukes in. If you go into agriculture, the treatments they got for flukes are amazing.
You can actually see the Costia is quite visible in a lot of places between all the mucus patches on that. So that's quite heavily covered in Costia too, isn't it?
I don't know, a lot of them are blood. A lot of them aren't Costia. Those little bits, but when you see that flash, they almost go light and dark. You just see almost like a flash.
What's the one that looks like? It looks like a Mexican hat. That's
Trichodina.
Costia looks like a little bean type shape with two little.
Looks like a flea Costia.
Yeah, and
you get Chiladanella that's like a heart shape.
Trichodina looks like the little spaceship, and then Chiladanella looks like what does that
Chilo
mean?
likes to dance around in circles.
Yeah, it does. But again, more little bean shaped or grain of rice shaped type of thing.
White spot looks like white spot's pretty obvious.
Yeah, white spot is cool. It almost looks like a blob. Well, yeah, because it looks like a blob that spreads across. It kind of does this kind of motion and then that kind of motion to move. But inside it, you can see it looks like gases around the planet. And it just looks like space inside, doesn't it? It looks like something, and it just spins inside. But when they pop, it turns into shit tons more of it.
Yeah, there's like 100,000 little white spot in one big one. Nematodes, I think they're called when they go
boom.
When they go boom.
So that's what you're looking for, Ryan's Coupon. That's the kind of level of infestation that's pretty damned obvious to spot. I'm saying obvious to spot, only if you're reading or looking for the right scale of scope on your microscope.
But if,
which
like
is,
said, if the temperature's hot and the fish are feeding hard, they can still be quite. They still look all right, and it can be quite easy to miss that until it gets to a point where it's got to a proper issue, and you're losing fish.
I did that one then, Gaz.
I did this one. Right, one second.
Not another parasite.
Now I found one today that's not today, yesterday. That's not a parasite, but quite commonly mistaken for fluke. We'll see if we can bring that one up later on as well. Right. So I did. Oh my fucking god.
That's proper Costia.
That's Costia. Yeah, that's when you think you're tripping when you're looking at that, isn't it? Jesus Christ, man. That's bad.
I'd like to point out
I've never seen it like that.
I like to point out this isn't my fish. This is on Pond Vigilance.
That's the fish I sent you last week, mate. I sent him with some visitors.
God damn.
Yeah, that's the proper buzzing. But the thing is, if a big fish has got that, it will probably still be all right, and that would just kill little fish at a rate of knots that's unbelievable.
But what's the main kind of damage that you see Costia on that level doing to your fish? I know, but I mean for public to know. What would be the telltale signs that you'd got that kind of infestation, and what else can Costia do to your fish?
You have to go ahead, mate, because apart from the damage you quite often see along the dorsal, below the dorsal on the skin, but it can start to burn them. Well, not burn them.
It almost looks like it's become raw as hell, doesn't it? And they actually damage the scalation as well, don't they? In large numbers like that.
They'll kill little fish. Like if that was on a young fish, it's already dead, isn't it? But a big fish can tolerate it a lot better. But that's quite unusual to see that much Costia and no other parasites. Nothing else going on.
You can have the hat trick on the next one, guys.
Lee Taylor says, what's the life cycle with the fluke and eggs? Will the treatment kill both at the same time? No, it doesn't, mate. That's why you've got to go back in. Am I right in saying a 2-week later treatment to get the
14 days?
14 days.
That's what they say, but
depends on the temperature. Don't ever listen to that. It's all temperature related, isn't it?
So the warmer the water, the faster that would be then.
So the egg layers tend to have 4 black spots. When you look at the fluke, they've got 4 distinctive like black eye sockets at one end. Yeah. That's the egg laying ones. And it's all
the other ones you can see the baby pretty much inside.
It might take a month when it's cold and 4 days when it's warm. So
There we go. That's the one. That's the one.
That's the
That mean
one.
that the first time I seen that, I thought this is cool as shit. Look at that little thing. It's
It
like
is.
a little flying saucer whizzing about. They're quite.
It is the coolest.
There you go. So there's Kostya and Trickadina going on.
Kostya and Trick.
It's like a
But
battleground.
you imagine there's probably a fluke on there somewhere. But you imagine the size of
That normally belts around all over the place, doesn't it? They're normally real quick.
What trick?
So many Kostya, it's chewed its legs off.
I've always found trick like that. They just sit there spinning.
I've
Yeah,
seen,
Trick-
I've seen them in the in the water at the side, and this thing was just whizzing around all over the place.
The Tricks have got little hairs all around them, so they spin.
Yeah,
Same
they
as-
spin in circles like a spur.
But yeah, you probably
I
find
suppose that's probably trapped under the slide, though. So it might be. I saw it just off the edge of the slide in some of the droplet of water, and they were whizzing around everywhere.
But if you think of a fluke takes up 3/4 of that screen, if you're not getting that, you're not going to see the costume there.
If we pause that there now, if we pause that there, right, you've got these that are about the size of the tip of that little cursor that you can see, and we've got that's probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the cursor, where a fluke would be, let's say, for example, we take this corner here, a fluke would be more that size.
Yeah.
that's a big flip. Yeah, right.
Well, an adult fluke or a fully stretched out one is certainly
But yeah, there's a big
microscopic still, but 10 times the size of everything else.
My fluke's a lot bigger than that, mate.
This fluke's a weapon.
So, Rick, what would you treat first then? If you had all of these all on the same slide, where would you go first?
Kostya first.
Yeah, Kostya is the quickest. to
Kostya is
treat.
the killer, isn't it?
Yeah, all day long. You treat the Kostya first we'd normally use formalin, which will it would knock the flukes back, not the tricks back, but it will kill the Kostya. Then we'll go in and deal with the flukes. If the Trichadinas, yeah. But there's something generally, if you've got multiple things going on, there's an underlying issue going on as well.
Or an issue through bad husbandry.
That's what I mean. An underlying, yeah, too many fish, bad water, whatever. But yeah, Kostya is the one that can kill fish in 24 hours when it's bad like that. So you've got to nail
Kilo's
that
the
first.
same as well, isn't it? The Don.
But big numbers of fluke can also make a fish less lethargic, less interested in eating if they become so irritated and then they end up becoming emaciated and starve.
Yeah, they will. Flukes will kill fish, but the time scale is different. You got to deal with the Kostya first because that's going to kill your fish first. Then
Thank you very much for these, Matt, because that's almost like we planned all this. But
good pictures, Matt.
They are very clear. I mean, that makes
useful.
I used to do it always just with the eyepiece, and then it got really frustrating because when you went out and saw the customers and you were going, "Yeah, Kostya," or a fluke, have a look, and they would look through the slide and they'd already moved off, especially with Trichadina, and they were like, "I can't see anything," and you would look then and it wasn't there, so I do it all now on the computer, linked up, so I can actually show them what I'm looking at on the microscope.
You just look at me.
That's all these
Matt,
database
the
take.
tech guy. That's all it is, isn't it? You just flex when I'm coming. Oof. Have a bit of that.
I have had a few laughs with people when they've sat there and go, "No, see, I knew my fish were clean." And when they've looked away, I've pulled out some of these slides from previous visits, and they go, "Fucking no, shit, what's all that? Oh my god!" And I'm like, "Don't worry about it. It's just one I recorded earlier."
When Colin said, "Yeah, that's a good video," they need to be jumping all over the place. But that's Colin. That's a particular bad case. I mean, I've never seen anything like that.
Oh, I've seen that loads.
Have you?
That does.
I'm
not
yet
shock
to.
me.
I might. Obviously, I might do. I might see it at work. But but I have been told when you see it, you'll see it, and you'll go shit. But I haven't personally seen it yet.
But what's really weird? What's weird with Kostya?
I've seen it with fluke.
When I've gone around the slide, I haven't seen any sign of it at all. Over on the left-hand side, come over onto the right-hand side, or a different place, should we say? and it's there. It's just in masses. And you think, well, how can you be not
All
over
there
on
and not anywhere else.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But I mean, I've had it when I've scraped my fish at home personally myself. I've scraped them and thought, let's have a look on slide and see if there's out there. Slid it straight under, gone like that. I'm gone, shit. And there's literally been, I don't even need to move it. And I've probably been able to count 15, probably 20 just in that one slide. That's when it was, not last year, yeah, before when it was bad. And they were bad. It was like a freaking rave party. And I don't, that first fish I scraped, I thought, God damn, that's a lot. And that were in then. 1,000 phone calls. What do we do? But yeah, there we go. Right, here's a new one. I'm just interested in the guy's opinion on green water. I haven't turned my UV on in 3 years. Can't get. That's why you could spend so much on fish, because you've been able to buy so many fish because of all brash you've saved with not having a UV on. So I haven't turned my UV on in the pond for 3 years. 70% sunshine of the day. Only thing I can put it down to is the amount of water I put over my shower. I'm guessing. So what he's saying is, you ain't got green water, yet you haven't had a UV on for 3 years. It's in 70% sunlight most of the day. Only thing you can put it down to is the amount of water you put over your shower.
I don't run UVs on a lot of our ponds, and some are
And yours are crystal clear.
No, and some are green as arse. Well, arse aren't green. Green as grass. Green as grass would be better. Yeah, I don't know. I think the more mature the system, the clearer generally they are. Don't know. Good one. Does he grow any plants in his shower as well?
It's got to be an ecosystem thing, isn't it?
Matt's
Yeah, all of my Munger tunnels have always been clear when they're run, but there's lots and lots of filtration going on there, and lots of filtration as well.
Can it be something to do with the natural balance of the pond being just right, that it maintains a clearer pond? Because you can, let's say, when our nipper, it's not there anymore now. There's an housing estate, but when our nipper, there used to be a big, massive detached house all on its own, and behind it was a big field, and in there was a big proper natural pond. And that pond, until we all jumped in it and messed around in it, like that pond were crystal clear. We used to swim in it and all sorts, but you could swim underneath. You could see little pike in it. You could see little fish, stickleback, frogs, frog spawn, but it was crystal clear. Literally, once you trolloped about in it and buggered about for a bit, come back day after and it were clear again. But there was a little spring coming in and a little spring that used to overflow out, and that were it. It was just a natural pond and a natural environment. But that never ever had any form of algae in it, and it was never green. It was never,
So,
like
Gaz,
fishing lakes and what have you.
when have you ever heard anybody say about their green water and somebody advising them to go and test their phosphate levels? Crafty knows where I'm going with this one. So, customer in Weymouth, he's well overdosed on his UV going into the pond, and he's got green water. So we tested the phosphates, and it was off the scale. We put in a phosphate remover. And
What did you use? Phosphate X?
No, it's called a phosphate. So it looks like the dechlorinators, exactly the same. And we moved the phosphates in the pond. The water's gone crystal.
There's some people have phosphates in their actual drinking water, though, aren't they?
Yeah.
So they have to use them pre-filters to be not putting it in the pond in the first place when they're doing water changes, because there's a couple of YouTubers that have had them fit to the systems.
Yeah, but you use phosphates to get them put on the land. We put super phosphate into our fry ponds to try and get them to go green, which is triple dose super phosphate fertilizer. Because
That's because you want the young fry to feed upon those small organisms that's in there as a superfood.
basic, well, not super.
Well,
It's
I'm
super-
saying, well, a super. No, it's for the like the Daphnia to eat that green stuff, and then they bloom and they get boom, and then your fry can eat the Daphnia and so on and so on and so on.
Yeah. So we will use normal fertilizer, which is high in nitrates. We use superphosphate. We'll also use natural chicken or cow manure.
Yeah, I'd heard that before.
And then we put that in. So basically, we're creating an environment that encourages the zooplankton, the phytoplankton first, which is your green water.
It's the green water.
Plankton goes boom. So our problem is the ponds go too clear too quick. So the live food's eating algae quicker than we can produce the algae. And obviously, then you put the fish in, they eat the live food, and then it goes super green. And then you've got a problem with too much nutrient, and it's trying to go too green. So then we're having to water change it back out again. It is one of those, but we don't. Anywhere where you're running enough filtration, where you've got not just your normal filtration, but you've got some anaerobic filtration and potentially plants growing, the water's generally crystal clear. And the phosphate and nitrate levels, normally the nitrates are actually really low, but the phosphates could be through the roof. But they can't survive.
Something, yeah.
They can't. You can have a phosphate-rich environment, but no nitrates. The algae can't grow. It needs everything. It needs sunlight. It needs all the different nutrients.
But what type of a filter system, Mark, do you have? Do you have an ultra-fine sieve system on a drum type of thing that could filter out all your green before it ever becomes an issue in the first place?
Well, he's on a
micron they go down to. I don't know.
He's on a drum system, but it was almost how I would explain it, like tunneling. It wasn't something that you could see in the water, but the water was just dyed green. It was weird. And
but the smaller single-celled algae will go straight through a drum anyway.
Yeah.
So you won't.
Oh, so that right. So the microns to that ain't small enough to pull out on his filtration.
No, and all he did was bought one of the phosphate removers, or it's called a phosphate, fixed a pump onto it and dropped it into his biofilter, and that was it. Job done. No plumbing, nothing at all. And it's removed all of his phosphates in the water, and now the water's gone crystal clear.
Without the aid of ultraviolet.
Well, it's got the ultraviolet on it, but it
How
wasn't.
much did it cost him, Matt?
Yeah, you.
Way more than the price of a UV and the running cost for 4 years.
Yeah, it was a lot of money.
Or 3 years in Mark's case.
But then if you've got a pond,
You're looking around £1,000 for one of them.
It was, yeah.
Oh, yeah. There's another question, because this is one that something that you play around with a little bit, Rick, to a bit of a sidestep degree. I used to keep tropical discus fish and make my own high protein food, i.e. beef heart mix, which is, this question was asked last week, but it was before you joined us. Is there a reason we can't do this for our koi? But you do, in a sense, don't you?
You can, but it's just creating something that's not going to destroy your water, in it. So it's having the right. So when you talk about koi fry, a lot of people go, you can get fry food, you can get egg, you can use egg yolk. Egg yolk's quite special because it will turn into micro particles that hover in the water. So yes, at 2 or 3 days old, koi fry can eat boiled egg yolk.
But
there's a massive but to this. It's not great. It's an emergency if you're desperate to feed them. But it will block their guts up. B, they can only eat in a real fine window. Once they're a week old, they should be too big.
That's it. They're off that.
So you're gonna. It's one of those. It's not an old wives' tale, but it's something that you can use, but it gets taken out of all sort of context without knowing how you're doing it, how you're feeding it, why you're feeding it. With most small fish, live food's the winner because it's live in the pond, moving until it's eaten. you just can't really beat that. The fry foods on the market, they're not great, but yes, you can experiment with stuff. We're always experimenting with stuff. Most of the fry foods, commercial koi diets, they're not koi diets, they're commercial carp foods, are too high in protein, they're too rich. So we cut in other stuff to actually make the food less protein rich, more organic based.
And it's cold.
It's types of ground up seeds, and it's a nightmare to get hold of. So I have to go around health food shops buying up ground up flaxseed, and
they all look it like that guy's here again for shitloads of random weird stuff.
It seems, doesn't it, that I'm having to go and buy weird stuff to add to special foods that we're paying for, but that's just the reality of we're not farming a million carp that are. There's so many aspects of a carp egg will tolerate going into a Zuga jar, whereas a lot of koi eggs won't. The genetic difference, just the hardiness of a carp goes right down to egg
Is
quality.
one of those jars the ones that they put them in, they tumble around with the ball in the bottom that keeps them moving and turning over?
So a carp will tolerate that, and the dead eggs will float out, and live eggs are staying there. But you do that with koi, that movement will kill a lot of the koi embryos. Yeah. They're not from that point.
Tumble.
Before that point, they're weaker in every single department. And the fact that the diets, here's a million carp fry, we could feed this food at 28 degrees, and most of them make it and grow really well. They might be a bit fat and funny-headed, but doesn't matter because they're carp we're going to fish for or eat. Do that with your koi, and suddenly at 6 inches long, you've got a load of funny-headed fat koi that are worthless, aren't they? That's reality. You can't beat natural environment. If you can put your fry into the perfect environment where the food's live, the water quality is perfect, the fish come out better for it. You try and do it in an intensive environment with artificial foods, there's going to be a downfall, and especially when you do it with a weaker subspecies that has been created for years and years to create the fish, it's even worse. So which is why we're forever. The stuff I've done over the years, it just defies belief. That's how you learn. Some you win, some you lose, some. I give away all my knowledge for free, don't I? So I should have kept stum, but I don't.
Best way to be, mate. Sharing is caring. Claude's just put in there. Well, I'm going to bring up that other slide that you showed us as well there, Matt, because it's well worth a lot of people getting the chance and the opportunity of seeing them. Is the odd jump stroke flash of a fish okay to leave, or should a scrape be done immediately?
Should ask a fisherman.
Yeah, but I would say for an angler, that's when your season's kicking off because the carp are rolling, topping, jumping. Now, would you necessarily think, oh shit, hang about, all those fish are riddled with? That's it. That's somewhere to aim for. Bloosh, you're straight in for trying to catch it. But in your pond, just because it flashes or it jumps doesn't necessarily mean that it's got parasite issues. It could be flexing to say, check me out, ladies. I'm super fit and healthy, which is one thing carp do. They roll to surface, they jump, they splash, especially in pushing up to spring and sort of like spawning time. Or it could be having a little bit of a flick and a flash, trying to dislodge something that's got in its gill that's just not comfortable after it's fed or it's eaten. For example, mealworms really make your fish do that quite a lot.
So, I always say, well, do we not scratch?
Exactly, yeah. I mean, you get uncomfortable itch, you need to have a bit of a scratch of it, don't you? If it's persistently constant and more than one fish doing it again and again and again, and you think, hang about, that's like 6 or 7 fish I've just seen skimming and skimming and skimming off of a surface again and again and again. Have a little bit of a closer look. That would be my advice. A lot of people don't spend. I'm probably going to get people pissed off by saying this, but a lot of people don't spend enough time around the ponds. enjoy your garden, enjoy your fish, and when you're out there gardening, just keep an eye on them. And if by observing your fish, you will understand their behavior. Once you understand the behavior, you will know when something is different to what would be classed as normal, and you'll see the difference. If it's right after feeding time, you notice a few of your fish flashing. See what they're like an hour after feeding time. Are they still flashing? Are they still flicking? If they're not, it might just be a little bit of irritation in the gill. Worthwhile.
Naturally, a carp will come across like a gravel area, a bit of silt, and they'll kick it over and spin straight round, and the stone will drop out
bring something come up from
and hoover out all the bloodworms and stuff straight out of the water column just above it. They ain't daft, do they? Stone and sand sinks quicker than everything else amongst it. That's what they do.
It's a way of stirring up the surface to get food.
So
there you go, Claude. I sit by my pond for hours and stand there even in winter. Me too, mate. So therefore, you should know if something you're seeing is different from the ordinary behavior of your fish. Some are just moody twats, 100%. Some of them just don't like it and just flick around the pond like an absolute knobhead, like my Yamabuki used to do. That thing were a crackhead. Only time we were happy when there were drugs in pond. Or should I say treatments. But that brought itself to the end of its own life by getting smashed its head into the wall until it killed itself.
That's what it's like being in your pond. It's the first quick.
Right, we have got quite a fair few fish to be looking at again this evening. So I'm going to take us now into actually, I'm lying. One more thing. I'm going to bring up this one first that Matt said, because these are probably some of the clearest examples of what I think I've ever seen of the parasites that are out there. And it's a good way for people to see. I'll start that right from the beginning again. There you go. That's what I was meaning, how it's little flying sorcery thing whizzing around everywhere.
Cost you on that one as well, man.
Yeah, that's Trichidina and Costia.
Costia and trick. This one being the trick and the Costia being the tiny little bits that you can see every now and again just whizzing around. There.
Rafty, is that a fishing lake behind you on that map?
No, it's the golf course.
Makes sense. Are you doing your event Sunday?
There we go.
We're still on.
Still on, mate, yeah. I've just done 100 pictures tonight.
Oh, god damn.
100 pictures.
You've been click, 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 edit, click, 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 edit then all day.
Yeah, the whole day for 100.
That's mental. Just tattoo them.
If anybody would like any of them and would like those videos,
If anybody wants any of them
I'll say
parasites, get in touch with Gaz.
And I'll get in touch with Matt. We'll get him to send you out some freebies. That's the beauty of what you do.
Parasites are one of those things, and everyone worries about them, but actually, once you know what you're doing, they're probably the least of your worries, aren't they? Well, not the least of your worries, but they're not. You can see them, you can treat them. It's not an issue, is it?
Just see me falling off your shower or the Benny falling off your tan shade. That's the bit you worry about.
Or the body shape, Matt.
Right then, let's get into the first one that we saw was Simon Smith's, but that was a Simon Smith actually asking a question about his fish's problems.
Plenty left time, mate. Online. You can turn it on the day and pay if you want as well.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. Is there many tickets left for the Growing Show, Crafter? You got it, mate.
They've gone up in price now. Just send the money to me, 120 quid each.
Viruses,
they're all right.
Virus is the thing to worry about.
No, go away.
Well,
What time's it? Rob says, what time's the event start?
11:30.
11:30.
shit, I thought it was 10:30.
We open at 10:30. Got to let
Well, that
people
gives you a
know.
chance now, Rick, to be in cafe first, have a nice breakfast before the event starts at 11:30.
I was hoping to get my van loaded with all my fish and be on the way.
I was hoping to get an invite.
Where?
I'll invite you up, Matt.
Oh, fine.
Bring your fucking dollar with you.
I can give you a lift.
Bring your dollar with you. Bring your dollar with you. You're spending some brass. Right then, the first one. In fact, I'll bring this up for a first little one, because this is the first little one that I've entered in this evening. But it was just literally a little thumbnail for the actual one this week. But a nice little example of a nice Otsuka.
Otsuka.
Is that the way to pronounce it? Otsuka. Little grown project. Nice little Asagi there.
Is it actually yours? We can't vote for it if it's still.
It's not my mate. No, this is not as part of a vote. This is just one. This one and the next one that I bring up is ones that I actually picked. I thought I'll just do a little thumbnail for it, and I put some koi food in, and I put my hand in, and a good cluster of fish swam over my hand, and I went, oh, a little Asagi there. So I separated it out and held it on my hand and took a picture of it, and that is the little banger that is. Nice little fish. So we're kicking with the first ones, and the first that we've got. There is some lovely all comments. Aaron says he's looking forward to the Asagi Fest, and so is Lee. And George Murdoch is going to be his first one that we're going to have for the evening.
That is lovely. At the end of the day, this is where it gets difficult, isn't it? As a
God,
judge,
that's pretty damn nice, isn't it? That.
But as a judge, isn't it? You almost mark it down because you want more. But it's for something that's going to develop. That's banging. But as of today, it needs
It's not a showfish of today, is it?
No, it needs Benny in the fins and round the face and a bit more
But
visible.
you can see it's there, can't you? You can see.
Yeah,
it's
that's what I'm saying. If you're buying a fish to develop over the next few years, that is what you're looking for. If you're buying a fish to take to a show now, that's
not it.
It's not it, is it? That's the problem, isn't it?
A quick one there.
It's a lot more development.
For Lee, mate, just so we don't miss it. Crafty, I can't make the selection. Can I nominate someone to pick mine for me? I have 2 tickets.
Yeah, pick someone good.
Of course you can, mate. Rick's available.
I'm not. I keep picking good ones.
On there, Alan Tate or someone that you know that you trust.
The ones I picked for other people last time, mate, were all better than my own. I got Aaron Rob one off me, didn't he?
You've got to be quiet next time, mate.
Kudos to George's dad for growing this, because that's one that George's dad has grown on for him.
You see,
But
it's going to be a good example, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. A nice fish. Right, the next one is Alec Pulsford. Now, can we make that a little bit bigger? We can. A little bit too big there. Now then.
Now then.
Is that an Asagi or is that a corn?
It's an Asagi, isn't it? That's where the corn comes from. When you got Asagi like that and you cross it with a chagoi or a crashigoi, you can start.
I'm glad you said that, Rick, because I've heard that
I thought it was the other way around.
From corn, when actually it's corn come from Asagi.
The corn come from Asagi, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, when you were saying that, then I thought it was the other way around. And that's called Kanoko, that, isn't it? When it's got the scalation like that.
A lot of our older Asagi do more stuff like that, where the Benny comes up in scales and all that for a bit.
Ikarashi.
They're messy, but I quite like them. They're quite cool.
Yeah, I quite like it as well. But it's on a nice skin as well.
Asagi. 34 cm Nisai.
Yeah.
See, that's where so Ikaraki Zoom is where our male Gimri and Asagi come from, that we do a lot of our weird and wonderfuls from. So
I like the Kanoko, me.
There's a cross in there as well, perhaps back along before it was popular as a corn. They've done something to create the whatever they used to get the Gimri and the Asagi creates that Kanoko effect.
Yeah, we've got one at work, and I really like it, a Nisai. But I know it'll be an expensive fish, but
I've got a really nice one at Crafties. I might
really nice. I really do like it. The Kanoko on it, but it's got.
I have to trim its pecs.
Less of it. It's got a full head pattern.
Well,
But it's really nice.
Now, mate, make it better for spawning. It won't get caught up.
Alan Days, little bit blurry, and again, fish that's still in a lot of development to do. I'm going to say this, Alan. I don't mean to be rude, but when you're seeing this kind of pattern here, and as it gets to the head bit here, it gets a little bit messy, doesn't it? And it don't. But that could be that it's just not developed through, and the picture's not clear enough to be able to see. But these lines where you see as they seem to be going a bit skew-iffy and a bit off. Not.
That's because it's a little tiny fish. What's that little tiny 15 centimeter?
Yeah, that's what I mean. It might be a case of, and it might just be the development that you can see in. These lines might not be necessarily looking as true as what they are when it becomes a bit more developed.
Fish grows, isn't it? So scalation changes how it runs. But yeah, that's a
bit of a unique head pattern.
It is.
This never works. Didn't think it would. Oh, that was Mark Togneri's just put in a nice one. We'll bring that. That's not yours, Mark. That's off of the fecking side.
Me, that's good. I tell you what, that was mine.
If that's yours, mate, there's the winner of the evening. Because that's mint.
Mark has just sent it to me as well.
It's
very nice.
Fake news.
It never works. This is nice too. Do you know? I don't know what it is for me, but Asagis remind me of mice.
Remind you what?
Mice.
Mouse's head.
Fucking, I'd love to see your mice. But I'd never want to kill them.
That's my late entry that you just ripped off the internet. Thank you very much, Mark.
That's one of the back to front ones. What are they called? There's
a reverse scale where it's at the back of the scale, not at the front of the scale.
Yeah,
like you've got, Crafty, with that other fish.
I'm sure
scalation.
I could be wrong. I've had a couple of beers now, but it looks like it's darker on the tip of the scale than it is the.
Yeah, than at the end of the scale.
Right.
Yeah.
So this darker area would normally be at that part, not at this outer tip to the scale. It would be more to the pocket rather than the protruding. That one's a nice one.
Asagi. Definitely, yeah. It's quite nice.
I
like the front end better than the back end. Again, the front half of that fish is amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Huh?
But the picture positioning
What bit, mate?
The front half.
What, the head?
Yeah, the head and the shoulders. I like that. And then it still gets a bit. I think it's just the angle.
A reasonably, not a late entry, but oh my god! Now that's a bowler class there. Look at that.
I've seen that video before.
Yeah.
The one at 11
That's
o'clock
a nice
now.
bowl of snow Asagi's Ginrin as well. Actually, right, question for you then. That one looks like a snow Asagi and as does this one, but that one looks like it's going to get more darker. Is it a snow Asagi, or is it just an underdeveloped Asagi?
So Ginrin Asagi, mate, and it's so quite often dealers will sell Ginrin Asagi as snow Asagi, and they're not.
Yeah.
So when they're young, they'll look fairly white, and then they'll start to blossom as that blue starts to come through. The real snow Asagi is the one underneath, or the one above. Yeah, that one. That's a snow Asagi. That's not going to change. That's not going to change.
This one's going to get the blue come through. That's going to stay as is. That's going to blow. That's going to blow.
Yeah. So quite often.
So you got like a 50-50 split in there.
Yeah.
Nearly.
A real snow Asagi won't change. They'll stay white.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3.
Until they come back to this country.
They'll be very light. They'll be very bright light ones, though, won't they?
Yeah. But they're good. They're good fish, man.
Yeah.
One on the left
bodies on them as well.
Lovely. Oh, it's moved. How dare it?
I knew that were coming. One at the left-hand side when it was somewhere about here. Right, there we go.
It's still available, Rick, if you want it.
I'm done, mate. I've got enough Asagi. I tried to catch one today, and I had 6.
You ain't got one like that, mate.
Probably not. No.
So you ain't got enough if you're trying to catch them.
No, I just took a scoop out of a pond, and there were 6 in the net.
This is going to be a nice one.
Nah, bloody rubbish fish.
I've got to go farm. That's nice, Aaron, is that, mate? That's clean and all. It's a very good. Almost looks like it's been bleached before it went in. That is bright. The Seroji on that is mint.
Yeah, well, it's hard to sort of beat that, isn't it?
Yeah, that's lovely fish, mate. I shall be over to pick it up shortly. Banger. Horrible that, mate. It's absolutely horrible. You don't want that in your pond. Let's the pond down.
They're almost not blue, though, are they? Do you not? When you see nice Asagi like that, they're almost. They're not.
They're amazing
blue anymore, are they? When you see a nice Yashui, which
no.
we don't, but a lot of people go, "Oh, look how blue that is! It's super blue." The Asagi's almost gone to a point where the good ones.
I like that, mate. That's a banger. That could be my favourite so far, I reckon.
It's hard to
It's
beat.
an absolute banging
Anthony
fish.
Shepherd. Now, this looks a nice fish. That's a nice example. Again, a lot of development to do, but what a hell of a nice set of scalation across its back there. That's mint.
Isn't it? But it's trouble. It's really dark at the
Hey,
minute.
Lisa. It's what?
Really
too
dark,
dark.
isn't it? But
It is dark, yeah.
you don't know from what blind what that's going to do, do you?
Well, into the case that Otsuka need to be darker when they're younger, and then Hosokai need to be lighter when they're younger. Two different bloodlines picked with
Matt
two different
ones have changed pretty rapidly, haven't they?
Yeah.
They've gone from nearly white to navy in 6 weeks.
6 weeks.
But I mean that's got a lovely distinction between the sort of the darker reticulation on the top, and then you see it from the side. You almost got a white band, and then the red.
Be nice to see. Be nice to see how the Benny develops on the underside of that, because it does look a little sparse to this when it turns now, but it's still a lot of development to do yet. So nice little example of that, mate.
If that Fukurin comes on that and it stays that sort of colour, that'll look fantastic.
So on
But,
the Benny, different people said different things with this. You don't want to see the Benny on a young fish. It's better to see it as a
Depends what bloodline they're from and who you listen to, doesn't it?
Where, yeah.
Simon Smith.
Oya fish are quite renowned to starting their Benny development later on. So, you know,
That's
it's easy.
nice
You know, Matt, don't you? It's easy to sell a finished Asagi at a Tozai than what it is with one that's got no Benny on it whatsoever. Right,
But that's
generally-
people understanding how the fish is going to develop, though, Crafty, isn't it? Again, that's like seeing the fish in your mind's eye, so to speak, for what it's going to become in the future.
Absolutely, and when you see those little Asagi that are finished, they look amazing, don't they? Right,
but they don't look so amazing when they get to 4 or 5 year old. They're normally dark as hell, look full of shimmies.
Yeah,
but there's also the problem with unfinished Asagi. The 4 Oya ones I've got, they're never going to finish.
no, Benny, I've got one in our main pond, mate. It's got literally about 2 mil of Benny on one of its fins, and it's just going nowhere yet. But I had one that I sold to Dave that goes on me auctions with me, and my God, that Benny just shot through the skin within a year, and it was exactly the same as the one that I've got in the pond now, from exactly the same breeder. So fingers crossed.
But it's a gamble fish, isn't it? So we have to make sure we only keep ones that have got Benny, because why would you gamble?
Why does the Benny on a Asagi come out, but if you had Benny going back in on a Kahaki, it disappears and doesn't come back?
Hundreds of years, yeah, but it's different. It's almost secondary. So it's just the difference between inbreeding. It naturally will come out on the Asagi. They're old school, aren't they? But that's not something you want. You want on any, but you'll see it on showers and stuff as well. Like Benny underneath that sort of creeps up and whatever. It's not something you want on those varieties, but on Asagi, it's something you do want.
Nice Ginrin one there, which is about a size 8 in a croc.
About a size 8 in a croc.
So about 10 inches.
If you can look, you can just see 2 feet there in a pair of crocs, which is about the same size as a fish. So I'm going to go
good body for that size.
Yes, it has got a good body for that size.
I'd say it's probably about 30 cm. That it's got good body. It's got good gin.
Nice gin on it too. Yeah.
Yeah. Good Benny. Yeah. Good fish. Who's that from?
That one was Simon Smith.
That's the one with the dodgy pecs we saw earlier, wasn't it? Well, not dodgy pecs, but damaged pecs.
The damaged pecs, yeah. This one's Tony Nichols. Oh, again another one with some nice Ginrin. Still well underdeveloped. Still got a lot to do on it, but again, looks like he's going to make a nice fish.
I do struggle. I caught 6 earlier, 3 Ginrin, 3 not Ginrin, and
Simon S says it's about 35 cm, about size 9. Then,
what would you choose? Ginrin Asagi or not Ginrin? I think non-Ginrin just look a bit better.
Non-Ginrin for me. I think
non-Ginrin look cleaner, don't they?
I think what you see
in an Asagi.
What you see in
the Asagis you had off me last year. How are they doing?
Well, they're all gone then, mate.
They look exactly the same. They're the Atsuka ones. Yeah, the Benny's not changed. They're not. They've grown, but I like them, but they're not.
There's Chris Brands in there with that one. Obviously, we're not looking at the Sankit.
We should be. It's nice.
Well, we can. It's a dual-purpose video.
So going back on your Ginrin on Asagi, Rick, what you tend to find is that the Ginrin will sort of distort what the actual colour of the fish is, and also take away from that nice net fukarin when it breaks through. It actually breaks that up, which is what makes them look a little less desirable, I think. But when they're young and that isn't there, I think they look, with a good gin all the way over, I think they look the nuts. But for me, the original Sagi is where you should go.
Do you reckon that's going to become Kanoko? Because that does look very individual bits.
No,
high up as well.
I reckon that's the Asagi cross, mate.
And the Asagi cross. Ooh.
Yeah, the way the Benny is like a Goshki Asagi or something. Yeah. The Benny's not running laterally on it as you would expect.
So basically, what you're seeing there is the
from a
colours
known YouTuber,
on the body.
both coming up in 3 years old.
Yeah.
Sally Harfields. That's an Asagi cross again. That's an Asagi cross Goshki, I think.
Nice. We've seen this. I think this.
Yeah, it's nice. We saw this last year, didn't we? This looks like it's put some size on and all from then. And obviously, an Alsatian's nose. An Ochiba Asagi.
Yeah. Just where you got the two types of almost Bennett. You got pattern on top and then the lateral underneath.
There's more pics in the reply. Be much easier if you just
Underneath there, guys. That's it.
Oh, there we go. All right. Oh, there it is. No. Simon replies to himself. Now will it work? God damn it.
Good picture, that.
That's nice scalation on it.
But that's like a normal Asagi. And the one to the left of it's the other one, isn't it? They're like they're different species.
Yeah, they do look two totally different fish, don't they? Flash has just bounced over that one a bit there. From what YouTuber? I'm going to say Darby Coy. How about that for a guess, Simon?
Are we guessing where that's from?
Aaron put in there from what YouTuber? And I said my guess would be Darby Coy.
No idea, mate.
From Rick.
Richard Perkins. Well, it could be from Rick, actually. It could be.
Could be.
There's more pics in the prime. From which YouTuber, Simon, if you are allowed to say? Two little Asagis there from Richard Perkins. And then we've got
Same as
video in the comments. Hint, Steptone son. Oh, so they're from Vince.
That'd be Adam Boyer then.
So they could be Adam Byers, yeah. All right. Somebody said there.
Fish that size.
Video in the comment. Video in the comment. Hey. You've lost me. Right, that's all the ones on Facebook in the post there, but we have got not that one. Well, that is you're right, Rick. It is the same fish. A little sneaky one there from Karen. There we go. There's a video with a Lancaster bomber going over the top of him at the time of recording.
Can you show on WhatsApp, Gaz?
No, it's on my phone, mate. I'd have to pull it off of WhatsApp and put it onto
Proper old male, that one, isn't it?
an old clonker.
It's such a shame when fish get older, they lose their.
No, I don't. Matt, personally, I don't think it is. It's nice to see a fish mature, although they aren't as good as what they were at the best. It's still nice to see a fish grow and become an adult, an older aging fish.
Yeah, but when you see that
It means
fish,
you've done your job right as a keeper, doesn't it?
when you see that fish a year ago, you know, it was absolutely phenomenal.
That's developed. Benny, it's got developed all sorts of bits, isn't it?
Oh, there it is a year ago. how much better it was then. And
See what the dark scales.
yeah, the darkening of the scales on the left has just got worse and worse over the year.
It's the trouble, isn't it? It's a simple variety that's bloody hard to get good big ones.
Thanks, Mark.
So those were the ones that were posted in there. Crafty's banged in another belter of a belter of a fish.
Hang on, that's my fucking bowl. Yeah, that looks shit, that one.
Fucking unreal fish. Have you spawned that yet?
No. Might do.
Right, so that's them all. That's them all from in there.
Play Marcos.
If you come to me, comment my pic and video is in the reply. All right, nice one. Okay, let's go back. Miss one. Let's go. Crap, it's not on that one. Aha. You all tried to sneak an item, don't you? Ooh. That's a nice one as well. David Thompson's. And there's another one to have a look at. Oh, shit.
Yeah, wrong button, cause that.
I really cocked up that one, didn't I?
That.
Yeah, all them. Fuck off, you damn thing. Doing what you want now. Nice clean pond, that, mate. Nice clean window. That's what I like to see.
That is how you saw for a split second.
Yeah, but we did.
When you film through the window and then you go to over the top like that, they're not there because they're at the back of the pond.
Miles,
Yeah, they look like they were up close and up front. So that's them all off of there. And we've got me. And then we've got, right. So this one is Grave Diggers. Hopefully this plays. You fuck off.
I like that.
Scalation, like fins are too big for the body.
At the moment, but body's got to grow, fill out a little bit, isn't it, on that? It's not a big fish, is it?
Quality's nice. It's like in a space. What's the hexagon thing? Like a space.
It's a beehive.
It's milt, Susan, milt, sperm.
It is sperm. I've had enough sperm on my hands this week. What happens when Lee comes to visit, innit?
And we've got Rick. Did you send one through?
I did, mate. Only a pup.
Ooh. A little one there from New Forest. That is a little Tosai.
Yeah.
That scalation's good on that, Rick.
Scalation's damn nice on it, isn't it?
Fucking almost bang on perfect.
Almost it is, mate.
Almost bang on perfect.
Lovely with the 50-50 Benny and the
we have all of our Asagi we have to keep with Benny in the fins underneath. We can't sell it. They have to go to C grades if they ain't got it. Some might turn out amazing, but a lot just don't do anything. So
we've got one from Tony, which I do believe is yet again another New Forest guy.
That's not a flattering picture, Tony.
It's from mine. That's from me. That is.
Yeah.
That one is
Nice, yeah. Tony, from in front, mate.
That's banging, yeah. More like this angle.
He's got a banging with that. he's got a better picture of that somewhere, surely, man.
I had to send up Tony some special stuff for him as well.
Oh, we've got a little video there as well. That's a bit better.
That fish has come on. He's got that fish coming on absolutely beautiful. Got a Coco cut the way through it. It's only a little toes again. I think it cost him what, £5?
Fucking hell, did it really?
Bagging that.
Body shape and half on it, mate. Bit short in the nose, but fucking mate, body shape is amazing.
So that's the last ones that we've had sent through there, and then this is a little one that we picked out yesterday at work. Of a nice little example of a beautiful Hosakai Asagi.
I'd say it's a winner, but it's not, is it? It's unbalanced, mate.
It is unbalanced, mate. Yeah, there's that little bit on the head, and it's not set the same at the other. But nice example.
Beautiful. I like the way it's got it's even got red barbels, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think Aaron's fish is the clear winner tonight, to be perfectly honest.
Gaz, did you forget my one, buddy? Edward Naylor says if it was in the
Marco sent you one as well, Gaz.
Oh, come on, Gaz. You're always missing the best ones.
I am. I've put best one on. That was it there. Available if anybody's interested.
That's what I like to hear, son.
Edward Naylor's there. There we go. Yes. Oh, actually, that's quite a nice one too. How will this work? Yes, a video.
It's like an old Asagi, isn't it? The deep.
Yeah, it is, but that's maintained its quality though, hasn't it?
Looks pretty good, yeah.
That's nice, that.
That skin's fucking lush.
Yeah. He sent me this at the beginning of the week, and I was like, "Wow, that's banging. That's a nice fish, nice clean head, but the scalation across its back is proper." Look at that.
But that's what I mean. A lot more of the modern Asagis are almost black and white with red underneath, isn't they?
Yeah, yeah. I like that, mate. That's a nice fish.
I do, but yeah, Aaron's is still pretty good.
I think Aaron's is tipped it so far, but that's pretty damn good.
I'm definitely voting for me.
Definitely voting for me. Again in the comments. Hey, how many have you put in?
Everyone writes an Asagi.
They do. It seems a very popular fish, to be fair. It does.
It's
the
so
Asagi.
They're hard to sell, mate, Asagi.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people like them because it seems to get. And again in the comments, right? So we've.
The Asagi always seems to have a
We've got that
huge.
one, the first one, and then the second one in the video. That's your comments. Oh, there's a quick question. Google says I can turn my protein skimmer back on 1 hour after treating with Alprex. Koi Forum says otherwise. What's your thoughts and reasons why, please? Any advice would very much appreciated.
I'll go, shall I?
Yeah.
Alprex is just malachite, acroflavin. Protein skimmer shouldn't take it out. Shouldn't make any difference.
That was a nice, quick, simple answer. That's what we like to hear. And I think
Marco sent you one in the messages, apparently.
Tony has sneaked one in there as well. Popular out there, the Asagi. Was a good choice. So this week, Matt, can you pick us fish for next week?
Can we play that last one?
The
Marco's one that he sent over.
Mark, where's he posted?
In your messages, I think I saw it.
Have you seen his messages?
Is there? That one. That's the one Marco sent me.
That's not Marco's, is it?
Koi Clear Gel. And they've got some ointment stuff as well.
Oh, Koi Clear Gel, yeah, it's good stuff, that.
Right, what am I looking for now?
That's it, I reckon.
Newest.
I reckon my winning one is Aaron's.
Yeah. Aaron's takes it for me as well, to be fair. That's a very nice fish, mate.
Aaron takes the biscuit.
I don't know. I mean, it's a close one, I would say, between Aaron's and George. George has got to take second.
Yeah, but George's is like...
George has still got a lot of development to do, but if that keeps and maintains that body shape and profile and gets the sumi in all the right places, that'll be a banger.
And the Benny.
Benny, should I say. Sorry, Benny. Should I say not the sumi?
You don't want any sumi coming up.
Be ruined. Dave,
Marcus's.
yeah, I've just showed yours, mate. I've showed them both, bud, and the one in your pond through the window too. Yeah, there we go. There's tonight's winner. Banger.
Nice clean head.
Mint that, Aaron. That nice fish, that mate. Right then, that brings us to the end of the Asagi Koi appreciation, and just leaves us with one more thing, and that's for Mr. Matt of Howie Koi to pick next week's fish for the Koi appreciation, and then we're going to call it. Thank you very much for joining us all. What are we going for, Matt?
An exciting one.
What's about Chiba?
Ochiba. And we're going to go with both Deutz and Wagoi.
Oh,
Both. Do both.
Yeah, do
Yeah.
both. Do both.
Jinrin.
Ginrin
North
Achiba, Deutz Achiba, Wagoi Achiba. So all three categories of the Achiba.
And your mum.
And your mum. Pictures of your mum. Dressed. Please.
You got one, Mick?
Yeah,
See,
he should have a really, really nice one, Matt. He should have a really nice one, mate.
It hasn't been fed for 6 months. It's skinny as a rake.
I haven't got one, I don't think.
Get lost. You've got to have one. You've got to have one in store. No?
I don't think I
Oh,
have.
really?
One. I think they're all sold, yeah.
You saw my
I
nice
could
one, didn't
definitely
you?
do one.
You got a good one, mate, but I should have taken it before.
Right then, ladies and gents, I would like to thank Anthony, Matt, and Rick for joining us again this evening, and obviously all you guys out there for joining us this evening as well. Next week's Koi appreciation will be the Achiba. Usual thing, guys. If you can post them in the Facebook, if anybody wants to put them in early, feel free to do so. It's not a problem, but I will
I'm
post
just
them
going
at
to
link.
make this go on a bit longer. I'm going to just talk over you for a bit.
Go on, crack on.
The week after, why can't we use the fish we got from Crafties on this event?
Why not? Yeah, 100%.
We can all rip and and say, Crafties, £75?
I won't be about.
£95?
I won't be about.
You'll be on holiday.
If you're not here.
No, I just won't be about.
So the week after could be event fish from Crafties. Shit.
Why not?
Yeah.
Because there's probably only about 4 of you going.
Well, I'm going. I've not invited Matt yet. He keeps asking for an invite.
Well,
He
Matt,
said, can I have a
talking
lift,
over-
please, sir?
and Rick carries on. I shall carry on talking over them. Usual thing, guys. If you've been enjoying this kind of content, do us a huge favor. Like, share, subscribe. Tell a friend. And until next
Fair
week.
that you keep talking over everyone, Gas, mate.
You've only got 8 minutes for 3 hours.
Hours. Keep smiling, guys. We'll catch you on the next one.
You're invited, Matt, and McCoy as well. Come down. Cricket bats.
8 minutes.
I was there. Thank you.